It's a button, yeah.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. It's time for the best damn comic book YouTube and podcast and all the interwebs. The Comics Aficionados got a great panel for you today. Unfortunately, Nerdy Girl Crates was supposed to be here, but there was some type of power interruption. She's not going to be able to make it, but I do have a replacement. I got a spare coming in to replace. So they will arrive eventually. I think everyone's going to enjoy that. But we've got an all-star panel today. We're going to talk about the Penguin Random House disaster. We're going to talk about some cancellations at Marvel. We're going to talk about that Jordan White X-Men interview. Have a lot of fun. Maybe do a debate here or there. I got a couple of them lined up. And, returning to the channel, we haven't seen you in a while. Larry King, you got a comic book that just released. What the hell's going on, man?
Nothing much. Just working on the second book, trying to get the first book to as many potential hands as possible, because the book is 100% done. 48 pages, black and white. Gemini Jump, about twin sisters, Liz and Betty, who end up helping people that need it, and sometimes they end up getting into trouble themselves. And in this particular case, helping a dying people, and running afoul of a alchemist and his giant robot. So fun comic. It's ongoing now. We're on Indiegogo. Links on my page of Twitter and Perch's, because Perch is even though he downplays, he's a very humble man. He is very much the co-creator of this. We bounced ideas. We built this thing together, even though I went off and it's like we built the plans together, but I built the structure. So there you go.
Man, so not only is it done, it's in the can, but it's fully funded. So there's really no risk in backing this, right?
I thought you were about to say there ain't no reason for you to be here. Bye, Larry.
Hey, I was about to boost you.
Perfect.
Absolutely not. So definitely go check out that comic book. And Perch, so you're the man behind the man on this project?
I think producer is the best word for it. And like we talked about before, the goal here is to just find better ways, other ways to get people to get their comics out, help share all the ways we did it so other people can take advantage of it, and just try and get more comics out, drive the price point down as well to try and get something a little cheaper. This comic is, I think at the printed level, it's $10 for the comic and all the shipping all in completely, which is still not cheap enough, but we're working on it. Postage is shipping is half of that cost, which is absolutely nuts to talk about sometime. But anyway, the response has been great. Thank you very much for everybody who supported, and we're just going to do a lot more.
And Larry said that you were a humble man. That is not the Perch that I know. Are you fronting on Larry and acting like you're humble?
Not humble at all. Just me and my hatred for Arby's. That's what we got.
Yeah,
I did not. Arby's is very hateful and hate worthy. So there you go.
There you go.
What's up, family? How you guys doing? Josh,
you're doing good.
Perch,
we've got a replacement.
Wes.
We got a ringer.
There we go. Yes, Perch, you out here in New York?
No, I'm not. I was down in LA. So just got back. But anyway, it's a last second delay. I was supposed to be out there, and it's very painful for me to see all of my friends and people out there. Apparently, they had a great time last night at Scott-tober. So
they had a knockout time.
Scott-tober, that sounds delicious.
Yeah,
is that like an Arby's?
It is like an Arby's. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still shitty.
To do Mega, also known as Jerome, music producer, comic lover. How you doing, Jerome? Everyone was asking for you to be back on the Aficionados.
How are you guys? I am so happy to be here with you guys. Definitely. Once I got the call, I had to put on the ring and get ready to join the cast. Anytime Wes calls, hey, I'm here.
Well, I appreciate it. You're looking very sharp today.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Well, as far as the people on camera, we got a nice looking crew here. I'm just putting it out there. If we go to the club, they're putting us in the VIP. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I don't know. We might get there and they'll see that I'm an idiot and be like, kick that guy out.
No,
sorry. You got Josh with you.
Not at all.
I ruined it.
There's a reason why I don't turn my camera on. I got a face for radio and a voice for silent film.
Well, Doc,
perfect.
You look like a pirate a few weeks ago. That was the perfect time for a face reveal.
That would have been, yeah.
We got Lane Kramer starting some shenanigans. Perch knows Arby's bleh. Wendy's number one.
They're the same fucking company.
It's different sandwiches, Doc.
Hey, Wendy's is number one. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I think that's the right
No,
one.
they
I
put
like the
sand in their
bacon
chili.
hater,
No,
but-
anybody who puts sand in their food is not number one. I'm sorry. Anybody
Boom.
that puts sand in their
Oh.
chili and
You're
does not
afraid.
clean their frosty machines is not number one. No,
I don't have
Oh,
ain't
it,
no
so-
way in hell I will. I will
The
die
Baconator.
upon this hill to slay the Wendy's dragon.
But what about the
split his
Baconator?
belly open and spill out
The
those
Baconator's
nuggets.
great. I like the Baconator. Who knew that in the world of 2021 comics that fast food wars would be the thing that gets most passions inflamed?
Yes. People are everybody's picked a side, and I'm telling you, I'm still on Team Arby's. I know there's one man, at least one man on this panel that's with me. It's Josh McDonald, the man behind PopMyCulture.com, as well as contributor to Batman News. How you doing, Josh?
I'm doing good, man. I got my coffee, got my water.
Is that a
We're here
little cheddar I see? You got a little cheddar stash from a bacon and cheddar?
yeah, just a little bit.
Maybe.
Best way to start the day. You know,
Yeah.
Wes, I'm sorry, I have to turn on you just for a second. Just for
my
a second.
goodness. Already?
I know. We learned that Perch is un-American because he doesn't like Arby's. And this week we learned that you're un-American because you haven't watched Batman the Animated Series, man. Like, come on. What's up with that? Well,
I was in
look at
high school when that
Jerome's
came
reaction
out.
was if I would have had my camera on when we were filming This Week in Batman, when he was like, I haven't seen Batman the Animated Series, I was like,
I've seen the movie.
and like I was Italian all the way. I'm not even Italian, but yeah.
Yo, you never saw Batman the Animated Series?
I've seen Mask of the Phantasm. I've seen a couple of episodes, but I haven't watched the whole thing. No.
Oh,
Jeez. Did that hurt, Jerome? I'm
No,
sorry. I
I'm not
didn't
gonna
mean
be
to
angry.
cut.
I'm not going to even do the whole I'm disappointed thing. I'm not going to bother. It's like, hey,
Larry,
you're
Larry's just
missing
like,
out.
Wes,
And it's like
just
one
go
of
to
those
your
things.
room.
Hey,
Listen,
you missed.
some of us
Oh,
didn't
no,
get to
no
sit home
worse.
and watch
It's like,
cartoons
I'm like,
when they were in high school.
gonna have to
Some
pay-
of us had to go to their mom's restaurant and work for Smokes.
All right, but you can catch up.
Listen, we didn't have a
What a
DVR.
VCR,
This is
man.
92, bro.
The 20,
Catch up.
20th
You
century.
had my little brother recorded on a VHS.
Yeah, but you had all of
Yeah.
this time. Yeah.
I don't live in the past, bro. I look for the
Wait.
future.
Wait, Wes, you're belting out kids at a fast, rapid pace.
Oh, that's true.
You got time now. You got nothing.
Dude, I got time now.
Hey,
I got 3 kids 6 and under. I got no time. I'm
Hey.
lucky I got this channel.
Wait, but wait.
You know, your oldest is about the age where you can start watching it with him now.
Yes.
Boy,
And he will.
This way.
Yeah, but he will really like it.
No, he really, really likes Captain America, Spider-Man, and Transformers.
But get him on
You're gonna look-
Batman. Just sneak an
here's the thing.
episode in.
Jesus,
I
Josh.
think what's going to happen. Wes,
Oh,
I don't want to. If your kids watch any other more flashy shows and they love it, they watch Batman like this is boring. See, kids aren't wrong, and it keeps you out. You don't have to. It's like why is everything so dark? It's boring. Nothing happens. Oh, it's character building. I don't got time for no character building. Flashy animation, CGI explosions. That's what these movies have kind of generated.
Chuck Skill
movies
says,
and
Wes,
shows.
where on the doll did Bruce Timm hurt you, man? It did. I've got some of his comic books. They're fantastic. I like the
Batman
movie
killing
and stuff.
joke. Let's put Barbara
for
and
real.
Batman together.
Wes,
Yeah,
Wes,
oh
no
my-
RB jokes. No RB jokes against Perch until you watch Batman.
Sold.
What?
Oh,
Oh, that ain't gonna
It
fly.
could be- it could-
Maybe
it
in
can't-
24 hours we can start that. But that's
Oh.
already built into the show.
No, no way.
We
how
got
you-
Kenneth Dowling coming in here. He's saying, "Good morning, Josh McDonald. Great to see you, buddy. You're looking well, Jerome. Welcome back, Jerome
Hey,
in the
guys.
house. I
Thank
said
you.
Jerome's in the house. Watch
Yes.
your mouth. I love
Watch your
Martin. Let's go.
mouth.
Love it.
Oh my goodness. Well, at least
What's
he's
up,
not on the
Kenneth?
Doc A train this week. How you doing, Doc? Obviously, you're the co-host of the Comics Aficionados. Have you watched Batman the Animated Series?
Yes, I've watched Batman the
Bull
Animated
crap.
series. I
You
hate.
don't even like DC.
I watched Batman the Animated Series. I hate Arby's, and I'm Team Whataburger. So fuck all you.
yes.
I'm
Yes.
Whataburger's great. Brett Booth
That's
hates
fair.
Brett.
That's
Oh.
pretty fair.
Yeah. Brett does hate Whataburger for some inexplicable reason.
It's
and
good.
I feel
Good
like
chicken tenders.
I feel like they need to take his Texan card away from him for just that reason.
I agree with.
Oh, he's a contrarian by nature.
Either.
Yeah. That's
Come on, bro.
the way you're gonna get. Whatever. We should probably talk about comic books instead of focusing so much on my
lack of
my inadequacy
animated
as far as Batman the animated series. We had someone who was way worse than me this week. It was Penguin Random House. They decided when they were going to ship these comic books.
That's debatable, though, man.
That they were going to pack them. It sounds like they were packaged well. They were handled, put into the boxes well. But they decided to not reinforce the box, put no extra protection for the comic books, and we had mass damages nationwide as far as Marvel Comics on the first shipment from Marvel for Penguin Random House is the Marvel exclusive distributor. I don't know, Josh. As a man on the outside looking in, you're normally more associated with DC Comics. What are your thoughts on this? Did you talk to your shop? What was their experience?
I did talk to my shop. They had damages. Theirs were a little bit on the lower end. I would say probably around the 30% range, but they were definitely disappointed. And especially when you have a company that has as much clout as Penguin Random House, I think you expect more. And I think what we just have to do is hope that they're going to learn and grow. I mean, that's really the best outcome you can take at this point. I know there are going to be other potential possibilities of sourcing the books from them, or from another company, I should say. But I think it was a mistake. It was definitely a rough start, and we'll see where they go from here. But if it continues, I think it's going to be a serious problem.
Yeah.
Now, Larry, you've got a comic book coming out. Are you going to be able to exceed the shipping standards of Penguin Random House? People are going to get the comic
it will not be
broken?
shipped in a Ziploc bag. It will not be shipped folded over and flattened. I think we're going to be doing pretty good, even because I'll be sending out because I have different perks, and two of the perks are commissioned sketch cards and a 6x9 commissioned piece, because it's easier to ship, because anything bigger than that, you got a problem. But looking into this, it's the idea of like, well, they could do better. You hope, but this is one of these things like Diamond. Yeah, they were the only fish in the pond. Now you got this much bigger fish, or shark, really, and it's like, what are you going to do? Oh, you're not going to use us? Go back to Diamond then. We don't care. And from the looks of it, it's like,
and we won't deliver to Diamond either.
Yeah.
And then they won't deliver to Diamond either.
I mean, you got issues across the board. And I look at it this way: good luck getting a corporation that big who we deal with bookstores. We deal with like, oh, okay, this is messed up. Okay, put it in returns, whatever, just whatever. Trash it, discount it, whatever they do, these other bookstores. And it's like, oh, it's got to be collector's grade. Collectors, who cares about them? They'll collect, anything. TV guides are collectible, and those are shipped in the mail with a little sticker on it. So I don't know. It's rough. I feel bad for the shops, especially if you got some of these people coming in like, I don't want to buy that. It's messed up. It's like, that's all we got. And yeah, it's going to be rough.
Some people can't let go of this Batman the Animated Series thing. I've got Jasper playing 9 calling me a fake geek girl. And then we've got Lane Kramer here saying, for not seeing Batman the Animated Series, you're officially the Penguin Random House delivery guy at Comic YouTubers, and Perch is now officially the Lunar of Comics YouTubers.
Yeah, fair enough. I am surprised. Everybody watches their own things, but I would think it would be hard to not see Batman the Animated Series. That's the thing. And no shade to you. There's some things that'd be hard not to do.
You watched that in college?
Well, I mean, but because it's
what kind of loser were you?
It's everywhere. I was out of college long before you were, but anyway,
that's what I'm saying. I was in high school. You were in college, and Batman the Animated Series came out. Were you just not going out with chicks while you were watching Batman?
We were running that in the shop.
It came on at 3:00 in the afternoon, man.
Yes.
Who the
I
hell?
saw the first
What girls
are wings?
What girls are you
Come
going on a
on.
date with at 3 in the afternoon?
Good girls that you meet at church and stuff, right?
That's classic drinking time, 3 PM. Anyway, the point, again, no shade to you. It's be like saying, I'm really into comics. I've never seen one of the MCU movies because they shove them in your face. I'm actually impressed you're able to get away from it, because
I don't watch many cartoons in my adult life. I think I've watched South Park for like 2 seasons. I watched maybe a season or 2 of Archer. maybe some Simpsons on accident here or there, but I just until I
probably for the
became a
best.
father, I just don't read. I don't watch cartoons.
I remember coming back in at 1 a.m. and one of the channels had it running there. It's just like it was hard to get rid of it. It was just hard to get rid of
it was on Toonami. It was
I didn't
everywhere.
watch Toonami. I didn't watch cartoons.
I mean,
all right, so Wes, you didn't see Justice League Unlimited as well?
I've seen a few episodes.
What's a few?
Wes is out there hanging and banging, guys. Let's let the Chad be.
What do you want?
No.
He's out there
You know what?
pumping iron, smoking a cigarette while he's lifting weights. He's like, I don't got time for your cartoon. Flips a cigarette at you.
What Wes was really doing was meeting up with senior citizen women to take them to dinner at 4 p.m.
Well,
I saw the
first of
Prater's
all,
comment. That was great.
When I was about 20 to 25 years old, I had a weird thing where whenever I would go out, yes, women in 40 and older seem to have a weird attraction to me.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's about.
Were you called
but-
the Cougar Tamer by any way?
Yeah.
By any chance?
It wasn't a title yet. I don't really think.
I'm picturing Wes in the cast photo of something similar to the Golden Girls, except this isn't some photo opportunity.
Blanche was pretty hot. It's not like there's any shame in that, right?
Nah, at that time, right? Yeah. You know,
Blanche had it going on.
The Golden Girls porno.
Yeah, it's going.
This Penguin Random House thing, it is amazing to me because, and by the way, I think it would have been hilarious if Penguin Random House would have delivered flawlessly to all the comic shops, but their shipment to Diamond was all screwed up. That would have been some hilarious karma. But I went over to a friend's shop who's just kind of up north here in Everett. And the thing that got me was, not only was it looked like crap, it looked like the box had been beat up. And in fairness, that's not all Penguin Random House. It's obviously the carriers doing quite a lot of that. And I think people are plenty salty right now. But he takes this box and he's like, look at this box. And he had two of them. He'd already opened one. And before I got there, and he's like, does anything seem weird to you? And I'm looking at him like, that seems small. It just seems slightly too small. It didn't look right. I mean, I've opened what has to be thousands of boxes at this point, but I'm like, it just doesn't feel quite right. And we slice it up, we open it. And not only is he being extra careful because the comics are backed up right to the top, where if you slice open carelessly, you're going to slice right through your first comic. But then when it's opened, what we discover is the comics have been pushed into this box. It was like maybe like a half an inch too small for the comic. So the comics are all bent at the top just to cram down in here. It's like trying to put a comic into something just slightly too small. And I'm looking at this going, who in the what crazy maniac put it in like this? And then we go right next to it to a box where there's just comics in a box with no padding around. They've been bouncing around as it's been moving, and it's nobody here in the chat and in this panel, I guarantee you, would ever pack anything that way. It is madness what went on, and I'm shocked that a big company is doing this.
Are you shocked that they weren't able to exceed Diamond's very minimal standards?
It's like there was a contest there's like they said, hold my beer. No, wait, I'm going to pour the beer on the box.
You know what this seems like? It seems like like when you have a Chihuahua and a Great Dane, and then the Chihuahua lays in the Great Dane's bed, and then the Great Dane attempts to lay down in the Chihuahua's bed because they think it's just the same. They have no concept of size, and they're like, "Well, I tried, it didn't work." That's so maybe they're being packed by dogs.
It's weird. Now, I at first there was a lot of complaints because people were calling in, they were getting put on hold. I do know that a number of people now have gotten a hold of Penguin Random House. They're embarrassed. Here's a comment that kind of saying the same thing. They are trying to right the ship. The surprising part though is it's a company that's been doing this for a long time. That's kind of the real puzzling bit.
Not with comics, not with anything where condition actually matters.
You're right, and I agree. And I've used that argument and heard that argument quite a bit over the last week, but I'm still struck by this. The comics were the wrong size for the box on the small size. Like you wouldn't, I can't wrap my head around what somebody was thinking to actually bend the comic into place to get to fit like that. That goes beyond just comics in good condition. That's kind of
somebody that doesn't give a
sociopath behavior. Yeah.
Killer here.
Occam's razor says that the simplicity, all that. So I'm thinking it's like probably limited staff. It's like, hey, this box ain't the right size. Just pack it in there. It's comics. Who cares?
Make
like,
it the right size.
Or they could be seeing what people will take and what they won't. It's like, okay, they'll feed you crap, and if you keep asking, if you're like, okay, like they don't get nothing, no flack for it. So it's like, okay, we'll see how far we could push people till they start pushing back, it's more than likely it's probably just some guy like, hey, these boxes we got, use them, just stuff them in there. It's just comics, and it's
I get this weird feeling.
Hold on, Doc. I do need to cover this one right here. We do have NWO Slave supporting the channel. Thank you so much for the super chat. Economics and Comics has a video saying he spoke to someone at Penguin discussing the damages and how to improve the packages. Love you guys. I believe they've gotten a tremendous amount of feedback, and hopefully they listen to it. We do know that they did come back saying that they are going to improve the shipping and packaging. I'm sorry, Doc.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, before I say anything, Kenneth Dowling did have a super chat that I think we missed.
Did I miss it?
Yeah. Hello to the rest of the panel. Batman the Animated Series, greatest super show besides 90s X-Men, 90s Spider-Man, and HBO's Watchmen. Get on it, Wes.
No.
I've watched the X-Men.
I'm just reading his comment.
What is that? 1 out of 4? Yeah, you got a way to go. You got to catch up, man.
Actually, this would be a good experiment. Because Larry mentioned something. I'm curious, Wes, if you sit down with your son and watch Batman the Animated Series, then come back, do a show about what your son thought about it. I suspect they're going to find it. Your son's going to find it boring.
That's what I said. You can't. It's like escalation. Every show.
I love it.
Yeah. The thing about this is actually very cinematic. But if I had to choose between the X-Men or Batman, I'm going to choose the X-Men animated series because it actually has more interesting stories, better music, better characters. Even though the animation ain't as good. It's like that doesn't really matter to me. It's like there's better to me, it's about the story. It's about the whole thing. It's like the one and dones. Yeah, that's great. And then you have the 2-parters, but some of it's like so stretched out and it's like it would be better as like a 15-minute short instead of stretching it to the 20 minutes. A lot of those Batman animated series episodes, but I know I'm in the minority there. I mean, there's some really great ones, but then you start out the series with On Leather Wings. What a boring way to start out. I mean, that's honestly, it's good. I mean, it blew my mind.
I do remember. I watched the Spider-Man cartoon on MTV. There you go. So I watched another.
That was terrible. The Neil Patrick Harris Spider-Man. The CGI garbage. That was terrible.
I watched Spider-Man on the Electric Company. Come on.
Yeah,
there you go.
That one was better.
There you go.
Who's speaking now? I missed introductions. That's Larry King. My goodness, let's take this thing down. That's Larry King from Twitter. He's also got a comic book out now. He's partnering with Perch, who apparently is the man behind the man. So that's who was speaking.
Honestly, he's the man behind the movement because
all right.
I know seriously, taking it to the streets, bringing the comics revolution.
I feel so bad for Wes here.
But getting back to what I was saying earlier with the whole Penguin Random House thing, it's amazing that this company had 6 months, 6 months to figure out how the fuck to put things in boxes, and they couldn't figure it out. Like they just couldn't figure it out. Like, all you have to do for the next 6 months is figure out the appropriate packaging. We all know UPS. We all know FedEx. Jesus Christ, they might as well just punt your box to the door. So
Ace Ventura fan opening an Ace Ventura, just kicking it down the street.
Yeah, like what would possibly convince them? You know what? This is good enough. I'm sure the carrier will definitely take good handling of this. We'll just slap a "Please Don't Bend" sign on it because that works. No, but they managed to, in 6 months, it's like they didn't even investigate the best way to do the only real job they had, which was put things in boxes and get them to the destination. Put things in boxes that will remain intact all the way to the destination. You have a company like Lunar that you can just literally go online and be like, how does Diamond ship? And get some pictures. of an open box from Diamond, an open box from Lunar, an open box from UCS, an open box from you can probably find pictures of open boxes from friggin' Capital Comics from back in the 80s. If you really want to. And all you got to do is be like, I guess we should do it like that. That seems to work.
But no, no, Perch. Can they fix this in time?
Yeah, I mean, everybody. I mean, we're like comic retailers are like well, I don't want to use that analogy, but we're used to abuse. I'll put it that way. And so there will be a second or third or fifth chance here. But and so hopefully they improve it. Again, the point I'm making, maybe not making it very well, is absolutely they're not used to shipping comics. That's fine, and I think everybody expected some issues there, but some of these packing issues were fundamentally so bizarre that I think it gives a lot of people pause. Of it's not just about packing comics. Like this is showing a lack of understanding of how to pack, like at all. Some of the boxes were put together wrong, so I don't know if they've got a weird staff there right now, if they're shorthanded, if somebody mentioned a box shortage, maybe that's it. I mean, there's a lot of things that could have gone on there, but it was baffling what happened. So they've got a lot of work to do. I think they'll figure it out because I think they have to. And I don't, big company doesn't want to be embarrassed, but what a bizarre, and Doc is correct. If there's like, okay, there's one thing we've got to do, guys, just one thing that people complained about Diamond for years. What is that one thing not to mess up? And it's like, I know, let's mess up the shipping. Like how?
So what do you think about the FOC, them changing it back a week, days prior to the first shipment arriving? Do you see a conspiracy there? Or do you think that was just something that happened that was coincidence?
I think that was coincidence. I don't think that was related to the shipping. Again, the shipping, you got to kind of wrap your mind around it. It wasn't just bad. It was just catastrophically dumb. And when it's that dumb, it's less conspiracy and more just, wow, what'd your parents teach you? Nothing. Clean your room.
So, Perch, you don't think that pushing the FOC back has anything to do with shipping, or do you think?
I don't. No,
Okay.
I think it has a lot to do with just kind of the general not being prepared. Which seems to be absolutely true with everything, but I don't think it's related to the shipping. I think they made a lot of changes last minute, and I don't know. The most likely theory here, somebody said Occam's razor earlier, is like that they don't have the staff. Everything else we're seeing right now, they're short staffed.
Well, we know it's a new facility, so you imagine it's got new employees.
It was it was Hanlon's razor. Never attribute to malice that which could equally be attributed to stupidity.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly. I don't hate Batman the Animated Series. I'm just too stupid enough to watch it. These guys.
Wes, you done messed up today, Mess.
I didn't mess up anything.
I messed it up. I presented it.
Josh, we love you today, Josh.
No one loves
we
Josh.
Have discovered that we have discovered an Achilles heel today on Wes.
We have.
Yes, it is there. And it's a big one. Oh my God. Batman the Animated Series? Mind blowing.
Just get ready for the weeks of tweets and comments.
They're gonna kill. Yeah, they're gonna kill him.
I was just gonna say with the boxes, the one thing, like just coming from an operations standpoint with businesses, I think the one thing that blew my mind the most was that they were using boxes that were too small.
Yeah.
And it made me think that they didn't order properly to have enough of the boxes they needed. So I know they're making promises that they're going to improve, but if that's the case where they didn't have the supplies they need, they might be over promising and under delivering, because it could take, we're seeing like a month plus sometimes before we get the supplies we need. And if that's the case, that's going to be multiple weeks of shops seeing the same thing. And I know, Perch, you said 4 or 5 grace periods or forgiveness, but they might be hitting that.
I mean, it'll get old fast. I mean, I think so this is where you can conspiracy it out a lot. We did know, or we had heard, or there was indications that Marvel was going to go really big right out the gate in October, and they pulled back. We saw a lot of titles get delayed. We saw shipments go back, and really now that launches in January. Did somewhere between Penguin Random House and Marvel, they determined that there was going to be short supplies or staff or issues throughout the end of the year, and so they deliberately pushed this stuff back so as not to really impact the big launches. I mean, maybe you could go down that path. I don't know. There's a lot of pieces there, but it's the thing that most I think encapsulates this whole thing is if you're a wrestling fan and you remember the debut of the Shockmaster, that is exactly what Penguin Random House felt like.
Dude, Mega knows nothing about that.
What, the Shockmaster?
You don't know nothing about no Shockmaster. You don't know nothing about
when he bust through the wall.
Yeah,
when he bust through the wall.
Took a
And
tumble
tripped on a 2x4.
Absolutely,
lost his helmet.
Yeah, and then it was so beautiful to see it. I think on one of those Vice documentaries. I watch a lot of wrestling documentaries. I'm going to say one of those those Vice.
uses it a lot.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, Botchamania.
Yes.
But the thing about this, just imagine if he didn't, like the what if scenario. So here comes this big fat guy with a Captain Caveman jacket and a glittered stormtrooper helmet with, I think it's Ole Anderson doing the voice off screen. Okay, how is that going to get over? How is it's like, okay, we're going to bury this guy. To me, it just seems like they're going to bury this guy that was a Fred, whatever, Ottman, I think his name is. It's like it's just there to bury him, and it's like, oh God, you hear? Like, it's just great. It's one of the best botches ever. That and yeah, there's a lot of them, but
there's a lot of them.
Callum Lyle says, I do believe that some people at Marvel and DC want to see comics burn. He follows up, and I also think Jim Lee has stopped caring. Obviously, Jim Lee is DC Comics and not Marvel with this debacle. I don't know. Obviously, you cover the industry quite heavily, Josh. Do you think Marvel and DC want to see comic books actually burn?
No, I don't think they want to see things burn. I think both companies, DC in particular, I think they had a shortage. I think over the years you've seen the people behind the scenes dwindle. And I think it's just one of those things where logistically they didn't plan it out properly. And now you've got a lot of people that where the right hand didn't know what the left hand was doing. And they're not figuring that out until it's too late. And then it's reactionary and then it's trying to learn. And you just create this spin. I've seen it happen with companies that I work with, and it's hard to get out of. But I don't think they want to see comics burn. Now you might have people that have their agendas and they're willing to burn down everything in front of them to push their agenda. But other than that, no.
Kez Dowling says, hopefully Penguin Random House figures this out. I'm for cooperation. Let's get it together.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They definitely need to come up with some best practices and a minimum standard as far as shipping.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like lunar status should be what it is. Now, Doc, I do want to talk to you about this. So we know that Marvel in 2022 are essentially rebooting everything.
Yeah.
And they're coming out, and I think in January, they're going to have all these homage covers. There's going to be 10 of them swept throughout the month for all these big introductions of characters and whatnot. If you're a comic shop, or if you think a comic retailer can comfortably, shell out extra orders for ratio variants and maybe get store exclusives on stuff like this, when they don't know if they're even going to be able to get their comic books in sellable order.
No.
It's a lot of money.
They have about 1 month to show a massive improvement in their overall shipping quality. I mean, if they get another month of books getting shipped in this condition, there's going to be a lot of retailers that go immediately back to Diamond and be like, F this, until they figure their shit out. I'm done. Because I can't, when you're getting it's bad enough that Diamond will just toss your 1 in 1,000 variant on top of a Funko Pop and below a weird shaped statue box. And hope to God that it doesn't get bent. But this, it's a guarantee their shit's going to be destroyed. There's no way that you can plan out especially with, what are they going to do? They're going to start buying triple the order just so that they can get enough that's sellable product?
Nobody can afford that.
No, nobody. You can't do that. That's not a practical solution. And if their 1 in 1,000 variant gets destroyed, well, there goes your entire sales, plan for breaking even or making money on that particular book.
Yeah. That episode that you had recently, Wes, was a really good eye opener. Because again, a lot of people need to see that. Same thing for Josh. Same thing as Perch. They don't understand the mechanics or the politics of how books are shipped, and they don't understand what retailers go through sometimes. Sometimes as fans, we get so cold and we just want our books. We don't care or whatever. And, you know, just to hear that story of the, you know, the guest that you had on who just, who was basically explaining, like, you know, he has to deal with people sometimes who believe, you know, he's shafting them and it's not even the case. It's just, you know, retailers. I mean, the companies are sending books to them and sometimes they're damaged and it hurts the business. And I think people need to see more of that, a little bit more, so they could have an understanding, you know, about the that side of the business.
Absolutely. So thank you very much to Kenneth Dowling for supporting the channel. I don't know, what do you think about this purchase? Is this going to cost Marvel in the long term? Like, we know a lot of comic shops are having to do store exclusive variants and really pay out for these ratio variants to capture the speculator market. Could this, you know, pop that bubble early?
Not yet. I mean, this is the thing nobody wants to hear. Marvel runs the industry right now for a lot of shops, and you know, they're going to do their big launch. A lot of comic shops are going to depend on that big launch to make money and everything else. So they're going to grind their teeth about it, and they're going to continue to go along for a period of time. It's not going to be quick for the retailers to bail, because where are they going to bail to? They can go back to Diamond, certainly, and that's an option, and some will. Absolutely, after this, some will. But it's, you know, are they going to back away from Marvel? Nobody's in the position to really feel like they can do that yet. Hopefully, and this would just be healthy regardless, retailers start looking at this going, how do I start padding my risk and looking for other ways and other revenue sources? That would just be smart for everybody to do. But in the short term, it's going to be, well, everybody's going to sit down and kind of cross their fingers. I mean, you know, this guy I visited after, I don't know, 45 minutes of being pissed and cursing and hating everyone from Penguin to Marvel, everything else is like, man, I hope they get their act together for January, because that's always a slow month and I really need January to come through. So here hopes Marvel comes through. And I kind of laughed, like, you just insulted them for like an hour and now you're banking on them for January. Man, you why don't you you got to open up that weed shop. That's what you need. you're killing yourself. But it's just that's where it's at right now. And I mean,
medical marijuana drive-through window right at the front.
Absolutely. What you
hey, you know what?
Yeah.
You know what though? The one thing that I am thinking about, and this is, you know, probably my conspiracy theory brain kicking in here, or as I like to say, since it's 2021, spoiler alert. We're you know how we all expected November, December to be where they really, you know, put out all these new books, and then they all bumped them to January. Could it be because they knew that their packaging was going to be fucked before they even started?
Well, yeah,
it's weird.
That's kind of what I said. Not necessarily that, but just I suspect there was this pushback or this delay because operationally, I mean, just broader overall. So again, putting all the pieces together, maybe they're looking at a new supplier, new supply house, short staff, paper shortage, all these other pieces, and it's like, let's decouple our risk. Now, the only kind of our big argument against that is that would take a level of business coordination and planning that previously has not been seen by Marvel,
savvy.
Or its savviness. And I do know a lot of people in that's probably where I have most of the people I talk to on a regular basis is within that department at Marvel. And they are incredibly short staffed because they've also, you know, Marvel's been laying off people too, or letting people go. And DC gets all the publicity for that. And nobody's really noticed the amount of editorial and other people at Marvel who've left. But I don't know. It could be. That would make logical sense, Doc.
Yeah. I mean, they probably saw it and said, oh, this is already going to be bad. This is going to get really, really bad. And that might be too much. I think they maybe are smart enough to recognize when there's too much bad. They don't recognize when it's bad, just when it's too much bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do want to say,
I was just gonna say, do you think there's a chance that Penguin actually reached out to them when they got like solid numbers of what they were going to have to ship and said, hey, we're not going to be able to make this happen?
I hope. I mean, I don't know. It's strange. And I know I'm being inattentive here for sure. It was the comics that were shoved in the too small box that that was you walk outside and you wonder what's going on in life and are you in the Matrix? It was such a bizarre choice that it defied all logic. And I really struggled to recover from that.
You know what else defies all logic, Perch? being one out of the 170, 80 people watching this channel live and not giving this video a thumbs up. That lets everyone else know that we're having a good time and a good conversation here. And if you want to support the channel, give us a little appreciation. Give us a thumbs up. We've only got 33 right now. Let's see if we can get it over 100.
And where were you last night, by the way, with Joe Casey? A lot of, like, we got about 110 people. Joe Casey was live just talking about things. And where were all of you last night?
I never got a notification. What the fuck, YouTube?
It's probably because I put out like 20 videos a day. But
anyway.
Yeah, because sometimes when I'm at work, sometimes like if I see a lot of videos from Perch, I got this little, I save a whole bunch of them and I'll try to just
playlist.
Yes. Sometimes if I'm not there with you guys, I might just save it and then I'll try to like batch it late at night before I hit the sack or whatever and try to catch something and tap out.
we need Jerome to do the optimal Perch remix.
Oh, that'd be great.
That would be like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And we got Callum Lyles. He's got the fixed action for all this. He said it just makes sense to fire Dan Slott. Hey, if Marvel wants to use the Penguin Random House Fiasco as a reason to fire Dan Slott, I'm not in favor of anyone getting fired, but I say do it.
Wow.
But
you know what? I'm with you guys. I'm with you, Wes. I'm with you
as well. Yeah.
Well,
does anyone else have anything else to say about the Penguin Random House Marvel disaster fiasco debacle that happened?
I don't want to get your channel in trouble, so I'll just keep my mouth to myself.
That's thoughtful of you.
Come on, Larry, send it out.
I don't have any additional thoughts on that, but I do have an additional thoughts that if Dan Slott isn't able to eat for the next 2 years, he'll still be alive.
Oh Lord.
Well,
sorry.
Okay, hashtag bullying. Okay, there you go. Hashtag fat shaming.
Slot shaming. I will slot shame him.
The only thing I'm going to get it back on topic for a second. The only thing I was going to say is if you're a comic reader or you're a fan and you're a collector and you don't have a pull list, get a pull list. Because if you're worried about your books getting damaged, if you've got a pull list, it's almost guaranteed you're going to get a good copy.
You're going to get the best copy
you'll get the best available.
Yeah, exactly. So, if you don't have it, get on that.
They get premier pick of the shit sandwich that is the product that comes out of Penguin Random House at the moment.
But yep, they should definitely contact Lunar and figure out what they're doing because they're doing something right. But that is, man, how did I do this? Oh, there we go. Now it's fixed. That is the Penguin Random House debate. Obviously, we've covered it in two and kind of talked about it on a third segment today. Or this week. So we've definitely covered it in depth. I know Perch has also covered it. So let's get on to this Jordan White interview with Adventures in Poor Taste, talking about Hickman leaving X-Men. I don't know, Doc. We didn't talk about this in This Week in X-Men that comes out tomorrow, so I'll let you have the first go at this one. It feels like he really, really, really wants you to know Jonathan Hickman's leaving because he thinks the X-Men stories are so great that he didn't want to be a part of them anymore.
Yeah. I mean, that was a bizarre interview. That was an interview that you read through it and it contradicts itself multiple times in the interview. I mean, but all right. So
we had no time frame on it, but we only called it year 1, year 2, and year 3.
Yeah, that was the part that got me too. Is like it didn't make a lot of sense. I mean, I get you're trying to put kind of the best possible face on this and I don't even know what to say. It was a bizarre interview. I mean, we've talked a lot about White or Hickman leaving X-Men and what it means and all the rest. And a lot of people speculate on a lot of things. I probably going back to what's the simplest answer. I mean, he got a big check. He got the check for a while. He's got some other way to get a check and he's off doing that. I mean, as much as it sounds, people are like, well, he couldn't stand to be in that line anymore and watch this stuff going on. I think as long as they were paying him, he was perfectly content to sit there and do whatever. I think they were moving him on to something else. And
I think I'll go with Perch right there, but I want to back up and say that I think he might approach this similar to how he approached Fantastic Four and then the Future Foundation, basically having not necessarily almost free reign creative control. And then it's like, wow, the sales are so good. And kind of like, okay, let's do all these spin-off books. Let's milk this thing. And it's like, well, that's going against the plans I have. And it's like, you like getting paid, right? Like, yeah, all right. You paid me. I pretend to work. You pretend to, but this, and so like more. You saw more of the creators before that little gap period before they got Hickman on that little year and a half, like a year and some change of just spinning their tires with the.
It's only like 10 months.
X-Man thing, yeah, the X-Man.
No, it was
like 20
It was
years.
9 months.
Yeah, and so they spin their tires, and you start seeing these guys come back in. You see the people that Hickman was bringing in, and then you still working with them like Teeny Howard, but then Brian Edward Hill like was there and then gone. Like no, like what happened? It's like he was there on the books. It was that Fallen Angels book. And then you saw like all these like, oh, we got these plans and this and that, like these spin-off ideas, and it's like, yeah, change of plans. We're just going to milk these things, and we got our own thing going on. You can stay on the book because like your name has cachet. So I think that's kind of maybe what happened. But they even before the House of X, Powers of 10, whatever, Powers of X, whatever, that ended. I was like, all right, I'm done with this. I'm tapping out. Part of me still loves X-Men as a concept. Execution, totally different story. So
Kenneth Dalek chimes in. He says, instead of firing someone, I say I have a much better thought. Bring Chuck Dixon back. Whatever he did, forgive him, hire him. I want to great comics again.
There we go.
Chuck Dixon has done a good comic in like 20 years, guys. I'm sorry. He hasn't. His comics are just mediocre or bad.
Oh man.
He's a hack writer. I love his old stuff, but he's a hack now. He is just like, he's a mercenary for hire. It's like covered in blood, scars. Like, who do you want me to kill? All right, women, children, men, old. I don't care. I'll take the money. It doesn't matter who. DC, independent. It doesn't matter.
I love that we're about like 2 seconds away from the chat absolutely turning on you here in a second.
Go ahead.
You go to Indiegogo.
People don't want to handle the truth. It's like, hey, I love Chuck's old stuff. Yeah, 20 years ago and earlier, the War Journal stuff, his Punisher work, Birds of Prey, the initial concept of Birds of Prey, where it's more like Charlie's Angels and everything.
I think his Nightwing was really good.
Nightwing was amazing. That's the best Batman book from the Batman family book from the 90s. It's better than better than Batman itself at the time. It was more consistent. But then, especially with that Scott McDaniel art, fantastic.
Yeah.
Did better on Nightwing than he did on Daredevil with that terrible costume and that demon and the glowing comic covered gimmick.
Yeah.
Marvel was done back then.
I just want to say,
radiation in my hands.
Larry King's opinions do not exactly express what we feel all here on the channel, even on the page.
Please back
Your issue was with Larry, not with me.
Let's see who gets people angrier more. You with the Batman comment about I've never watched the animated series, a beloved series.
I can still watch the Batman animated series.
Or
you can't
Chuck Dixon hasn't done a good comic in 20 years.
Crap, you just took on Chuck Dixon.
Man, just wait until
you're not committed, sir.
I can thread the needle here on this one. I think I will say here's where I'd say there's some truth to both of this. Is I think Dixon works better when you give him a run, or you give him, which is true, I think, of 99% of writers. I think they're better than that. I think what we've seen over the last particularly 10 years is everybody walking away from that, where all these writers get these tiny contracts and very short things. And I don't think that benefits anybody. And I think one of the reasons why we're not seeing great, as good of stories from anyone, by the way, not just Dixon, but anyone, is that you're not giving them time to let it breathe. I mean, the idea of having a 10-year Mark Grunwald run, like nobody would even think about that.
Yeah, that was a fantastic one too.
Not only that, but they would try to shove it out in 3 years with like triple shipping the fucking thing.
Yeah, I think we're creating a situation that brings everybody down, and I think Dixon is one of the people there. But I think I think that's what you have going on. You have people who are not getting runs, and when they don't get runs, we don't get as good a work.
You don't get to tap into that creative potential, because that's the issue with a lot of these things. The stuff he's done, a lot of these other writers, that amazing long-term work. It's like, wow, like this, like building upon characters, developing characters. You can't develop a character in 4 issues or a 64-page one shot.
Yeah.
You can have a character in there, and you can have like, oh, this is a bio of that character, Larry Hama style with the action figures of the G.I. Joes and all the little back. And sometimes it was in the comics, sometimes not. It's more action oriented. Okay, that's fine. It's great. But he had a long run. Like if you were to put like, here's this character. We've never seen this character before. Here's 48-page comic, and you might get one every 2 to 3 years or whatever. That's if he's doing it. And you don't really get to understand what's behind it. You don't get the little touches. Nightwing's Dick's
Nightwing's
super in the
dick.
building. But
Wait, we're talking about
Gleason,
Nightwing's dick now.
the
Where in
super-
the hell
All
are
right,
you
guys.
the
going?
super of the
getting
building
back
in
on
Bloodhaven.
All right,
Yes.
fellas.
But,
Chuck
yeah.
Skills says Chuck Dixon is awesome. You must have confused with Chuck Austin. I think he's got a damn good point. Speaking of Chuck Austin, the X-Men, Brad Frederick says Jordan White looks like Dr. Robotnik's origin story.
And this is
Josh,
perfect.
I think that both Larry and Perch have taken it easy on that Jordan White interview. What did you think? And this time, don't give a long pause for someone else to jump in and steal your thunder.
I'm going to say that Jordan White uses Jonathan Hickman like a motherfucking sword and shield. That's because he can't defend the bullshit that's come out of that office for the last couple of years. So all he has to do is, no, Hickman loves it. Hickman loves it. Hickman loves it. If you don't like it, then you must not like what Hickman likes. You must not like Jonathan Hickman. That's all that interview was him hiding behind Jonathan Hickman's goddamn skirt because mommy won't let him out. And you know, to do, nobody will hold that son of a bitch responsible. You know, Dr. Robotnik Jr. there, ukulele boy, hasn't done a damn thing to keep the clown show in that office even remotely running correctly in the last 18 months. The guy's a clown and he's a joke. Jonathan Hickman left because
He's
he
a
was
hell of a
bored.
ukulele player, though, Doc.
Fine, he can go play his
Hell of a
ukulele. And you know what? More power to him opening a haberdashery somewhere or an emporium of exotic memorabilia. I don't care what else he's going to do. He just needs to not be in the X office. Best of luck. You know, go find life elsewhere, sir, because your job as an X-Men editor has been poorly done. And every time the guy that was supposedly running the show, he leaves and you somehow try to spin this as he left because it's so great. You stupid son of a bitch. Nobody buys this. Nobody bought that interview at all. This is whining bullshit.
Yeah, I think the way that the interview went down, the person that was asking the questions, they didn't push him hard enough. They needed to push a little harder to get more meat out of that situation because all he was doing
They never will, though.
AIPT does every
do,
Monday.
lose
It's
their-
called
they lose
X-Men
their
Monday, and they
contacts.
get exclusive access for interviews.
Exactly.
They've had Jordan White. Obviously, they've had Jonathan Hickman multiple interviews within the last month. So, yeah, they're not going to push anything.
Comic journalism is a freaking joke, and anybody that thinks otherwise, it doesn't matter who it is, they're just useful idiots at the end of the day. That's all they are.
All right, Josh McDonald.
I'm gonna
critic for BatmanNews.com.
I'm gonna jump in just because I think a lot of people don't understand what some of these interviews are like. So if you can't get someone on video where you're recording them and that's what you push out, they're not even going to let you ask those questions. So I would say 80% of the interviews that we had to do or we've done with Batman News, we actually have to submit our questions way in advance. It doesn't even go to the talent. It goes to the PR team. They decide what we can and can't ask. They will have us alter our questions. Then once we've done that, they will send it to the talent. The talent will get it back to them. They'll review the answers and then give it to us.
Got you.
So you know that aspect is there, and it's to the point that honestly, sometimes it's like pulling teeth trying to get interviews. That we've had talent come to us and say, "Hey, we want to do an interview." Great, PR will drag their feet, so you know we go rogue and just send the talent questions, and then the talent will send it to PR, be like, "Hey, we've done it."
So, Josh,
let
me ask you this then: is it better to get interviews when you know, writers or artists are not like contractually bound to like particularly to the big two? Let's say an indie. Let's say you want to do an interview with Chuck Dixon right now. Would that one be much more pleasant per se than a interview with Jordan White?
Possibly. I mean, I think most interviews with someone other than Jordan White would probably be better. I mean, look, from Jordan White's standpoint, it's clear he's had some mismanagement, and it's clear he doesn't have, or what appears he doesn't seem to have much common sense. As far as getting interviews, if you get someone that's not with a major publisher, it's going to be easier. If you get someone that is with a major publisher and you want to get a good interview, your best bet is to try to have like a podcast and not say that you're wanting to discuss a specific title, but perhaps their career. And if you
100%.
do that, that's
Yeah.
a good way to kind of go in the back door. And then you can sneak in some questions and get some info. And it's like with Tom King, you know, like he's gotten a lot of hate for his Batman runs, but he's been able to slip information in podcasts that would have never come out in a DC like sanctioned interview.
Got you.
No, it's
I've heard-
I have the same, and that's why I don't go to the companies either. Everybody who's I've done an interview with, we just go direct, and I try and make it comfortable for them, but never, you know, all the interviews that I've done, I've never had to submit questions because I go that other route. And some people, you know, the Phil Kennedy Johnson was you know, it was very forthcoming, said a lot of really cool things.
Yep.
Sean's always fun. He always says a little bit more than I always expect him to. I think I'm, you know, but it was a good. It's always better when you talk to people at that level, for sure.
Yeah.
So Perch, talking about going through the back door, we've got Lane Kramer saying, look at Jeff Thorne. He has only, I think, through issue 12 of a contract he mentioned for Green Lantern. How can you build up subplots?
Yeah, I mean, this is my, you know, I get saying my hill to die on. I think if you're contracting writers for, you know, these short periods, and I think in a lot of cases 6 or, you know, 12 issues is a miracle, usually contracted for 6. You can't. Comics is sequential art, sequential storytelling. It's long form storytelling. How in the world are you supposed to get an ongoing title run if you have no long-term plan? And whether it's Jeff Thorne, whether it's Chuck Dixon or any of these people, if you're not committing to these writers for a long period of time, you're going to get these short burst stories, and those are not going to be as good as a long run.
It's not ongoing if there's an end in sight. I mean, it's that simple.
Yeah.
Ongoing means doesn't have a defined end in sight.
Well,
so they're not ongoing creators.
Yeah, I mean, this is what annuals are for. So limited series farm, it's fine. And I know the industry's kind of moved to limited series, but you want to maintain, you as a big brand, you want Batman or X-Men or one of these things to keep going. And then you also want to give the creators involved as little commitment as humanly possible. Those two things don't go together.
Yeah, it's kind of the fans lose out at the end because you can feel it. You know, it's like it's coming on to you as you read the book. You know, you're feeling holes in the way that the story is being written, the emotion of it, the characterization. They don't even sound the same. I was reading X-Men 3 and Polaris said, what did she say? The X-Men throw hands. And it was like, I never even heard her talk like that. You know, it was just weird. You know, it's like, I don't get it.
All right, so this is what King KDI has to ask. He says, would it matter which writer Marvel brings in if Jordan White mishandles their 3-arc story to make sure they can milk it further? Jordan White. I don't think it would matter, Doc.
Wait, what was the question?
It doesn't matter who Marvel brings in to be the X-Men writer. Jordan White's going to fuck it up.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he really will. Because look, if a guy like Hickman, now Hickman also demonstrated being completely incompetent when it came to being a talent evaluator. But he also wasn't there, you know, when your clown wrangler can't wrangle the clowns, but at the same time lets the other clowns run the show, you're not going to be able to do anything. Like you could bring in Grant Morrison tomorrow and do another run like that. You could bring in Chris Claremont and say he's the head of X. And at the same time, as long as he's still saddled with, you know, Jordan White as an editor, it's going to keep getting screwed up. Right now, you know, Jerry Duggan is a no talent, mediocre, middling creator. He is much more easily controlled and directed to run that office or to be the, you know, pseudo replacement head of X, even if they're not going to have the title of head of X. He would be much easier to deal with than Jonathan Hickman. I mean, Hickman, because Hickman knows his talent level, and Jerry Duggan knows that he's a middling nobody. So yeah, Jordan White will continually screw up that office because he won't know how to say no to anybody, and he won't wrangle the clowns for whoever's actually in charge, or whose vision they should be following.
Yeah.
What do you think, Drew?
No, I get what I agree with that. Again, I was just like this whole week, I was just trying to catch up with a lot of the X-Men runs and just trying to get a assertion on what we were talking about, even in our last interview, because there were a few books. I think like the Trial of Magneto, I probably didn't get into it. I heard you.
So bad.
But yeah, I got into it and I was trying to understand it. You know what? The second issue was there was something there, but the first one I didn't understand, what was going on. And you know what? That's a limited series. They didn't have to do. Then, looking at the Cable series, Phil Noto's a great artist, but he's not good for that, and then we got, I did the Children of the Atom, I think, when we were talking as well, and it was like, I can't believe this book had 6 issues. It's like, who's over here? Like, these guys are just wasting the X books to death. They're destroying them. A lot of these books only really need 1-2 issues at the end of the day. A lot of them. The art is not really strong there. Helion's is the best X title that we probably got, and it was a sleeper. But it seems consistent. The team looks right. It looks structurally good. It just doesn't have the time to develop it because they're throwing so many things inside of it. The X-Force run was pretty well as well, but it went somewhere else. I was arguing with somebody online, I don't know that's not our Logan. That's not Wolverine at all. Like, what is going on here? We don't have a core X-Men book like that. I don't know what's going on, but you don't get the
X-Men aren't the X-Men anymore, though. I mean, they're mutant supremacists who live on an island, who sell drugs, who reincarnate people. Oh, that's a joke. The X-Men always come back. Yeah, I get it, but you've just made everything cheap and pointless.
Yes,
and that's one of the reasons I checked in. Also, it was like the straw that broke the camel's back is the way they treated Mr. Sinister. It's like, okay, the Fae. It's I'm maybe gay and crazy. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
like, what is wrong with him?
every villain.
Ask Kieran Gillen, because he's the one that fucked them up.
But that's the thing. You can ignore that. Well, that's you're breaking continuity. Continuity can kiss my ass. I don't care about continuity and how other people have done it. You can. It's like, well, Aquaman's a joke. If you got it there, like, oh, he talks to fish. You don't have to mention that in that world. You are the god of that comic universe. You can make Apocalypse the biggest, baddest monster. The Mr. Sinister abducting children, experiment on people, body horror, David Cronenberg stuff. You can do anything, but they don't. Yeah. And it's like, well, because this writer screwed it up, I got to carry water for him. No, you don't. Throw it out and move on. Yeah. Ignore it. It'll go away.
Yeah.
People forget about it.
Especially in the case of Mr. Sinister.
Definitely. Exactly. There's no villains anymore. And it's like, well, it's the real villains. And it's like, no, it's like that George Romero stuff. It's like, monsters. Like, give me the monster. It's like, you can have the allegory as a person. And same thing with this line. Jordan White ain't running anything except for his little circus. And it's pathetic to see X-Men go from being this powerhouse where you could launch, a Gambit spinoff book and a Rogue spinoff book, and you have 4 issues. But at least it got to that 4 issues. Now, it's so sad to see X-Men what it was and what it is now, and it's like, what is this anymore? These are not the characters.
Yeah, Callum Lyle is advocating for firing Vidal as well. There you go, Callum Lyle. Thank you for supporting the channel. You're on a roll. That probably, I don't want anyone fired, but it wouldn't hurt, right?
I do. Yeah. And that's the thing. Just find life elsewhere.
Stop
screwing up my shit.
To a degree, when there's got to be a point in time when some of these guys, these writers, they have to transition and move on, because this is not for them. She needs a book like a small book, like she can do a Champions book. She can do something, that's just her own universe of some sort. But when her
clone already got that.
Her clone.
Yeah.
Is,
All right.
Oh.
We're going to far afield here. Does
Okay.
anyone else have anything to say about the Jordan White on Hickman leaving X-Men interview that he did?
I mean, it felt like just a way to not save face exactly, but like, here are the pieces we have, and let's make it look the best possible way it can with what we've got, which is big high profile name is not with us anymore, but this was always the plan, and it's great. Went on top, and it's going to be even better later. Even though he's great, there's going to be even better later, and keep buying and just ride this one right into the ground.
Editorial fanfic is what I call that one.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to something I think is going to be a little bit more fun. Man, Doc is going to get owned so hard in this one. We got the Legion of Superheroes versus the X-Men. Obviously, these were the at least two of the premier team books in the 80s. Obviously you had Teen Titans out there as well. I don't know, Doc. I think Legion of Superheroes wiped the floor with the X-Men pretty easily on this one.
No, because the X-Men have already beat the shit out of the Legion of Superheroes more times than I can count. They're just called the Imperial Super Guardians.
Knockoff Legion of Superheroes?
It's still the same characters. They literally have the exact same power sets. They're just in different costumes with different names, but they're the Imperial Guard is just the Legion of Superheroes.
Shitty
and
versions, but could you
and the
imagine
X-Men
Flannel Boy taking down Wolverine? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. Fang has gone up against him a
Said
couple
Flannel
of times.
Boy.
I don't even. Yeah, I don't even know who the hell Flannel Boy is.
Flannel Boy, yeah. Flannel Boy is
His flannel's impenetrable, even to adamantium, right?
Sure, I'll take your word for it. And then just rogue copies all their powers and kicks the shit out of them.
I don't know. We got a DC aficionado here. What do you want? You want to step up on this one, Josh? Talk about.
Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to side with Doc on this, and I'm gonna say X-Men. But I think too, we have to establish
Brainiac 5. You got Saturn Girl.
Are we pulling all the X-Men? Like, is it?
No,
I mean, like,
X-Men
are
team.
we? Look, honestly, you can get Charles Xavier to just roll up there, and then boom, they're wiped out if you wanted. Like, if it's a life and death situation,
he's the man behind the team.
But he's
Jean can do it.
X-Men, and that's what I was gonna say. Especially if you got Jean Grey / Phoenix. I think once you bring those psychic aspects in there with Emma, Jean, and Professor X, like the fight's over before it starts.
Yeah, they're going.
I know I'm a DC guy, but I have to side with the X-Men on this. Someone put whoever's publishing, that's the winner.
Set these guys straight. There's so much
I'm sorry.
going on
I'm sorry. We were busy with the Doc is Right show.
No, Legion absolutely wipes the floor with them. I'm sorry. You've got multiple counters to Xavier and Jean. The problem is it's a numbers game. Now, if we want to split hairs here and we say, all right, it's the X-Men and everybody living on Krakoa and their the Araco faction and all these other pieces. I mean, we have to keep building up this team. Sure, but if we're talking about like the X-Men that's in that Jerry Duggan book right now, that team against the Legion, like they're outmatched 6-1, and they've got telepaths as well. Somebody could shut down Jean Grey. There's zero chance. Legion has 3 Supermen flying over it. There's no way.
Yeah, Atomic Hound. Legion wins. They have Superboy, Supergirl, and Mon-El. Game over. Absolutely. Kenneth Dowling says this is a tough one. It's actually not. Doc is wrong. There have been various iterations of both of these teams. I'll decide in the next chat.
Everybody forgets the simplest solution. The Legion are from the future. They already just go back into a time bubble, go back, punch Cyclops as a baby.
Sure.
It's like, there you go.
Go back in time and kill off this whole cradle nonsense and murder, gold balls, and then we don't get any of this stuff.
Matter Eater Lad can eat Krakoa. Problem solved. There you go. Like no,
Actually,
all different X-Men.
Hold on. I am now in favor of the Legion winning this. Matter Eater Lad.
I was about to say, I didn't even think about Matter Eater Lad.
Well,
my God.
Imagine this. Wolverine's like, hey, bub. And Matter Eater Lad just grabs his hand because Wolverine he's a little stronger he's like feral strong. He's like crackhead strong, as it were. But he could grab Wolverine's claw and start biting adamantium. How great would that be? It's like Wolverine be like, "Oh my god!" He's like, "I'm not going to eat the rest of you." It's like, and think about this. You look at the X-Men. I know Perch will disagree with this, and I know Joe Corallo will disagree on this as well. But from the 60s to like the late 70s, from the initial run of the Legion, from their introduction, like 59 to like 78 or so, best point of Legion.
Yeah.
But basically, once Claremont's X-Men start taking off, and Claremont and Byrne, and then Claremont without Byrne, and that X-Men, I'm not a big fan of that era of Legion. But when around 2000s, when Claremont came back to X-Men for that aborted run after Alan Davis, the whole 12 stuff, and then you had the Grant Morrison X-Men, which I loved back then. After rereading it, that love has been tainted love. But the landing in Adamant Legion, amazing. With Koipel doing the artwork, the Legion Lost, all that stuff, fantastic.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what kind of Legion should be. This kind of like, we are against everything, but we are Legion, and we are going to triumph. We're not going to give up in the face of darkness and evil.
I mean,
and I was like, yeah, that's great. It's unified.
The X-Men actually have their own Legion. He's called Legion.
Legion is.
He's not an X-Man.
Yeah, but
he has been.
Yes, he has.
Yeah,
he has been an X-Men.
He has been. A couple of stories. A lot of them are alternate.
I always thought he was like just
Earths and everything.
Yeah.
But the issue, like the thing about it is, even with David Haller on the team, he's his own worst enemy, and he'd probably. I mean, there's Magneto. I'm gonna kill Magneto to save my father. You're like, what are you doing? Stop it! It's team killing. Stop team killing.
Very nice, Taylor. Yeah, absolutely. Though the Legion. So one thing to keep in mind here is the Legion has absolutely been mismanaged by DC for quite a long time. There's been a lot of bad runs, and people don't know what to do about it. But taking the writer out of the picture, there is, I mean, and you can go to Shooter's run, you can go to Giffen's run. There, you mentioned DNA's run. There's been some wonderful runs of Legion, but the power set of those characters, you got science users, you got magic users, you got Kryptonians flying around in there, you got people who can time travel and telepaths. I mean, that's
darkness.
World's greatest strategist and Brainiac 5.
Exactly. You can easily take out the X-Men, but if you're talking about a competent writer doing it, then absolutely the X-Men have had a better, set of people.
1000% Perch. That's my stance.
I think what this really means is we all need to brainstorm and write like this 12-issue crossover fan fiction event.
Yeah,
we could probably do it better than most people in comics right now. I'm just saying,
that's guaranteed. The biggest, absolutely pathetic, story about everything that's gone on with DC over the last 20 years is I think it's hard to F up the Legion. I think it is. You have so many different directions you can go with that title, and to put out a boring, middling, bureaucratic bunch of nonsense. This last run of the Legion was absolutely embarrassing and terrible.
The Levitz run, the pre
terrible
52, that one was awful. I was so disappointed in that. I was like, oh, this is so. And the worst thing about it, it wasn't like, oh my god, the worst comic ever. No, it was so milquetoast, so bland. It should not be. It's like it had so much potential, especially after what John's basically left with the, which I'll admit that was kind of shocking. Where alien doomed world, they send their alien baby to Earth. Oh, Earth is like, they like kill the kid. like okay, that's kill infant alien.
There's so much you could do.
Well, you were just advocating for murdering mutant babies there.
Hey, no, Krakoa is a different thing.
They can't die anyway. Get rid of them all. Throw them in the pit.
Into the pit with you.
No, but how do you mess up the Legion? I mean, with all the different things you can do, you can have a writer go in there and be like, I don't really like this magic stuff, so we're going to do some kind of techie war thing on another planet, or I want to lean into sorcery and we can do a 8-issue run. You got all the toys you can play with. You're off in the future. You don't have to worry about other things colliding into you. Messing up the Legion is, again, Jim Shooter was doing this when he was 12. Yeah. And that title was selling way more back then than any book currently on the stands today.
And it was good.
And it was good.
It was a good read. Yeah.
Callum Lyle says they need to hire fans who get the characters. That would probably help. I gotta ask, Perch, you read Bendis's Legion, right?
Oh yeah. It was awful.
You remember the one shot that we got? Well, maybe it was 2 issues where we had that Rose and Thorn character.
Yeah.
What was the point of that?
There was no point. It was a character. Well, I mean, the point of it was a character that kind of got taken over and managed, that he wanted to use in another location to kind of tie his runs together. And if there's ever a movie or a cartoon or something that they do, he gets a credit and a royalty. And if you look at Bendis's writing, he always inserts these characters that are designed to be very movie friendly, Netflix friendly, whatever happens to be, easy to film, easy to put out. And he wants a check. That is what he does. That has been Bendis for a very long time. And if you look at it that way, it actually ruins the ability to look at his work, because you start to see this very cynical side to all of it.
That's how I see Miles Morales. Everybody loves him. I was like Miguel O'Hara, okay, over here, it's like that's, but it's like, okay, well, we can do our own. I can do our own thing, make my own character, and I can get a little bit of money, a little bit of recognition, put my name in the special credits, that kind of thing. It's like, oh, come on,
yeah,
like
Josh,
the story.
Are you ready to walk back your assertion that the X-Men wiped the floor with the Legion?
Josh,
no,
your face, your face,
look.
your face is
I'm
like.
not gonna lie. This whole discussion, I've been just trying to think about different battles that would be so badass, and just like how you could subvert some expectations by doing some really cool shit, and then also have some just total badass moments. You're like, oh yeah, this is why they're gonna win.
Lightning
from both
Lad
sides
versus Storm. You can have Phantom Girl versus Jean Grey. There's a lot of great stuff you can do.
I mean, honestly, my mind is just racing with ideas right now. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm just like, this would be so much fun to just freaking write and put down. Like, that's where I am. Do I want to change my mind? No, I kind of like pulling for the underdogs. But so we'll just say that's partially my answer.
Doc is the underdog?
No, not Doc. But we're kind of setting up
supporting
the X-Men
by doing this.
Well, I mean, it has to happen once in a blue moon. So usually I try to give Doc shit.
Doc was right.
And you know what?
We've got Nerdette from Nerdette's Newsstand. How's it going? Tristan is in here. Nice to see Tristan back. Are we done with the Legion of Superheroes versus X-Men? It's clear that the Legion of Superheroes would wipe the floor with the mutants, in my opinion.
I'll just tell you, if you're DC right now and you're thinking, what can I do for a couple of years to get some sales? Put a competent writer on Legion. Create some giant mess where Darkseid is screwing up the entire time in a reality. It's kind of what they're doing now. But instead of folding it into all these other characters, inventing new kind of different reality versions of existing characters, make it the Legion's problem, that they have to travel through time. They have to use all the different strategies and skills they have to kind of pull the universe back together, be the saviors of the entire thing, and run that story for 2 years. And it's easy.
Or turn Brainiac into a planet and have them all live on him for no reason.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's a pretty good idea.
I'm just going to jump in with two things. One, Joe's in the comments, and he said hello from NYCC. So hello, Joe Corallo.
Hey, Joe.
And then two, Samuel Sierra had actually asked, who do you think would be a good person to write Legion right now?
Wow.
It's a good question. Because, I mean, like, it's a book that you can't mess up, but at the same time, you need to have a competent writer that's good with ensembles and,
Jonathan Hickman would be ideal.
He would turn Brainiac into a planet and then have him relive on him.
I disagree. We talked to him at Heroes Con in 2008 about that. And I was like, well, what book would you like? He's like, yeah, the Legion of Superheroes. And of course, that never happened. But I was like, well, if you can't get Legion, maybe work on X-Men. And I remember that. And so it was kind of funny to see him eventually. It's like, hey, and then like you beware with the monkey paw, finger curls, with the House of X Powers of 10 thing. So I think honestly, he could do a really good job if they were just like DC's like, okay, free reign, just do your thing, just.
Actually, Al Ewing would also do a good job on Legion of Superheroes.
He might, but he might. I haven't been thrilled with his Guardians. I mean, again, there's another case. You have a lot of things to play with, and you choose very myopic stories. I think, after talking to Philip Kennedy Johnson, I think he would do it potentially in the House of L book. I think that'd be a decent thing to do. I think he likes expansive stories. I think Danny Warren Johnson might be another one that would be interesting to put on that. We need somebody who's going to go completely out of the box, not like a Donny Cates where it's like, I'm going to go on here and I'm going to blow some things up. I want somebody who's going to completely.
Well, Robert Venditti is who you want.
Venditti would be excellent.
He would be good though. He would.
If you ever want the Legion permanently destroyed, all you got to do is do Jason Aaron.
Well, I mean,
hey, Doc, you didn't see that World War She-Hulk book? The last three, it wasn't.
I don't care. Jason Aaron fundamentally
Wes,
breaks every hero he touches.
no. But Wes, did you just read those three? What's those three issues? That wasn't bad. I'm sorry to say. The whole series has been crazy.
I disagree with you, but okay.
Really?
Oh,
wait,
well.
wait, hold on.
I'm going to go with Jerome. I think
It's not as bad as
if you've
the
got a little
tournament.
survey here of World War She-Hulk, the Phoenix Tournament, Heroes Reborn, that Ghost Rider nonsense, the Moon Knight Pyramid thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I think World War She-Hulk is the top of that list.
Yes.
Yeah, that's some lowered
It's the
expectations,
Heroes
though,
of
right
War.
there.
Yeah, you're picking,
right.
you're
Larry,
picking
right.
the least smelly turd in a pile.
Oh, that's what I was about
Yeah.
to say. It's like which piece of shit smells the least bad.
Yeah, but
It's like the shakes are good at Arby's.
Listen, man, whatever. Kenneth Dowling is getting us back on track. The man of high class and taste says the Legion of Superheroes have the numbers, the power. X-Men is my favorite superhero team of all time, not because of the most powerful, but because they're a great team. They are the underdogs, the outcasts. If anyone can do it, it's the X-Men.
See, that's
Except for the X-Men fighting for a world that hates and fears them. They're like, screw that. White supremacy. I was about to say white supremacy. Mutant
Don't
supremacy.
do that.
Jeez,
Jeez, man.
It's close enough. Look how it's like.
No, it's
It's
wrong.
not
It's
close
wrong.
enough.
Bishop's
You're
looking
going
around
too
like,
far.
YouTube algorithm
Jeez.
here. Be careful.
Yeah.
Look, it's
No,
close.
no, no.
Hey, it's both.
Yeah,
like,
All they need to do is add a couple little dashes on their X belts.
Don't even do it, Doc, because you're going to get.
I
don't
know
know
that's
where
as far
you're
as I'm
going, but I
going.
know it's terrible.
Everyone knows the joke. We all have it in our head. We know.
Yeah.
That's why I'm done.
Yes, there we go. So thank you very much, Kenneth Dowling. But I'm sorry. I say wish in one hand and shit in the other and see if the X-Men win. You know what I'm saying? It's clearly the Legion of Superheroes. This debate, I think I'm 3-0 in these. So I'm absolutely dominating the panel, as you would expect since it is my channel. Well, we've got another one. We've got a special debate here. We got Arby's beef and cheddar versus the KFC Double Down. Who wins? Now, I know, Larry, you are a man of class and taste. If you have to choose one, the Arby's classic beef and cheddar, and you can throw your seasoned curlies on there if you'd like, or a KC Double Down, the sandwich with no bun that's actually 2 chicken breasts with some bacon and cheese in the middle. Which one do you take?
Go to KFC because at least I don't get eating tumors. eating seasoned tumors. No, thank you.
Oh.
The KFC Double Down? That thing looks so disgusting.
Yeah.
Hey,
That does look really gross.
I'll look at it this way. You know what? I'd take anything on the KFC menu. Give me a bucket of like week old coleslaw. At least that ain't going to kill me if I lose a couple pounds.
Are you
No
sure?
one has ever died from Arby's. That is a salacious rumor.
No, it's just like in Disney World. Your heads come off your body. You don't die. They just turn you into one of the things at the meal stand. Same thing at Arby's. You don't die. You always live on in the people that eat you.
Oh, Jesus.
Kentucky
isn't
Fried
Soylent Green,
Children.
man.
We have good gone cannibalism here.
Jeez. Everybody, I guess throwing it to Larry first was a mistake. We got Lane Kramer here getting us back on track. Hey, to play off of a West Doc vid, a great run undone by a bad idea issue, etc. for DC or Marvel. Biden is Tom King's run on the wedding issue due to marketing. Absolutely. That's I don't know. You were at BatmanNews.com. What was your reaction once you found out that the wedding wasn't going to happen and all the marketing that they got behind that and actually encouraging people to go spend their own money, i.e. retailers, to promote this damn thing?
I think that was the bad thing, especially because you get to the proposal and then they have that break. And I think it was the War of Jokes and Riddles that they put as the mid-story leading into the actual wedding. But when we were having press junkets, I know a lot of us were adamant, like, okay, like, is this really happening? Is this really happening? Is this really happening? And they were adamant, like, yeah, it's happening. It's happening. Like, trust us. And that's even the point where they mentioned we're reaching out to comics, or going to reach out to comic shops. We're going to ask them to have a midnight opening. We're going to ask them to sell like champagne or sparkling grape juice and have a wedding cake. So they were adamant, like, this is what we're doing. We really want people to push into it. And I think that was a really, really poor aspect of that, is they spent a month to 2 months, like, really just stressing, no, this really is happening. We're not going to pull the rug out from under you. And then they pull the rug out from under us. So it was just bad business. I mean, story perspective, I think if they hadn't been so adamant that it was happening and pushed it the way they did, people would not have been as upset. People would have been upset, but they wouldn't have been as upset. So, and then poor Tom King, like I genuinely feel like his original plan was that by the end of his run, they would get married, because his whole thing was just wait and see, just wait. But yeah, just the business aspect completely ruined that.
Absolutely. We got Kenneth Dowling checking in. Arby's, where I am, have crinkle fries, and that's my weakness. Love crinkle fries. Normally I choose KFC, but you're being smart about it, because it's clear that the Arby's beef and cheddar is superior to the KFC Double Down. What do you got to say about that, Perch? I put you in a no-win situation.
I mean, I'm going to pick not eating between those two.
No,
I mean,
you can't.
Yeah.
You will die if you don't make a choice.
Jesus, that's a tough choice. I mean, the Double Down does not look, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm a weird Puritan, but I don't like meat as the bun. I don't, that's not how it's supposed to be done. But you know, I ain't more like lettuce as a bun either. So I mean, like that's
sounds like you're a beef and cheddar kind of guy, huh?
That's disgusting. That cheese is completely gross, though. That is
it's like Velveeta, but better.
Sick garbage ever. I mean, I don't know.
That's bathroom material right there.
I hate this timeline. I hate it. I hate it. I would go home and watch, Batman the Animated Series like a real human being.
Oh my!
Death Before Dishonor. And
my goodness!
Cheddar.
I will say,
Lyle says the Batman thing reminds him of Kevin Smith lying about He-Man. It's never good to lie to your customers.
No, I think the Batman thing was way worse. I think the He-Man thing might seem worse because it was a TV show, and that's generally going to have more people. But I think what DC did was actually worse. I'm jumping in on this conversation with the beef and cheddar and the Double Down. I've had a Double Down before, as when I had my office job, and I would usually send my assistant out and just like, if I were slammed, I'd say, hey, just go, whatever you're getting, get me something. And she brought me one back. And I just remember being so pissed and grossed out that I'm trying to eat this thing and getting grease all over. It tasted all right, but I'm getting grease all over my hands. And I'm like, I'm about to start leading presentations with a tablet, and it's just going to have smudge prints all over it. So I'm going to go Arby's, but I'm going to cheat, because if I go Arby's, I'm getting the smokehouse brisket and I'm getting some jalapeno poppers. Boom. Well, Bronco berry sauce with the jalapeno poppers.
Oh, the
jalapeno wrong. I'm just saying the Arby's beef and cheddar is an American institution. It's like the Washington Monument.
America's fallen.
Also, our local KFC sucks. It's like one of those restaurants that's just managed so poorly. It's managed so poorly. You're like, you just know you don't go eat there. It's a
modern day KFC is so bad.
KFC they stopped serving potato wedges. I found that out the hard way. That was one of the good things they have there. I was like, yeah, can I get some order of potato wedges? Like, we no longer have that. We got fries. I'm like, oh yeah, all right, and just drove off. and it was they used to have like mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes are terrible.
Oh, we're killing
really good. and they now they don't even put the gravy separate. They put it on top, so you get like a little scoop full. I'm like, what is this? What is this garbage?
Look at the amount of people. We got 171 people watching, and clearly, we need a food debate channel. Like, there's no fuck comics. There's no point anymore. We're going.
We need the fast food aficionados.
We're quickly becoming that. I admire what you did there, Larry. Because if I got some news like that, I would have drove off too, like just like a complete asshole.
You need to, if you do the food channel, Food Aficionados, you need to get someone to do a copyright strike-free version of the Fat Boys. Some Fat Boys are back.
Yeah. Oh man, that's such a good movie. I love the Disorderlies. You remember that, right?
Yes,
Joe?
It rules. Yes,
I never saw that movie.
Oh, it's great.
See the Disorderlies with the Fat Boys?
Yeah. Hey,
that's good.
The funniest thing is like when they're in the cop car and the cop car hits the guy in Miami, and the guy gets out of his car, grabs the neck brace, puts it on, and goes like,
I never saw that.
It's just like, and the cops are like, oh, hell.
I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look it up and watch it. I never saw that. But if I watch it,
I'm not committing to Batman the Animated Series until my son's in.
Oh, come on. Hey, to Lane Kramer here.
If I watch it, you got to watch a series. You got to watch at least a season. I'll make it even easier. Watch the last season.
Here, look,
when they had the team ups.
We're gonna do a
Even if-
live show where Wes orders Arby's and the two of us sit together and watch.
There's
Batman
no
the
Arby's in the
Animated
Philippines. I can order
I get
Jollibee.
sick, and you watch me disintegrate during this whole thing. It'll be great.
It would be worth it. All right, Perch. Lane Kramer's got. He said, "Would Crisis Effect Legion of Superheroes also fit that?"
Well, so not to be flippant, but which crisis are we talking about here?
Yeah.
That's the problem. It's yes, some of them, but they've reversed it and then brought it back. I mean, with current death metal crisis or anti-crisis or whatever that was, where everything now counts and it's all amazing and great and it's perfect and the linear verse, nobody's aging. I mean, sure. I think the Legion is now strong and superior. I think during various times they hurt that. Certainly, if we're talking the original Crisis, that definitely took a knock out of them. But who knows anymore with DC? I don't mean to dismiss your question. It's just who knows? I couldn't tell you.
Absolutely. Kenneth Dowling. This is a pretty smart question. Obviously, Kenneth Dowling's one of the smartest viewers that we have. Arby's does have this new steak and cheese sandwich. I'm thinking of trying. Absolutely, that looks like an authentic cheesesteak sandwich. You can get it spicy or not spicy. I mean,
when was the last time you actually ate at Arby's, Wes?
Before I moved. I've been in the Philippines for 4 years.
You do understand that whenever they do food advertising, they put like Elmer's glue on pizza to make it look better whenever they do the
but I've had
right?
Arby's French dip. That thing was always good.
But when Arby's is not what you're thinking it was.
You think I'm thinking Rax? I mean, Rax was good too, but I think
you're
Arby's...
thinking of time when people were happy and people.
Have you not had their chicken salad with the nuts and the grapes in it on the wonderful bread?
You're not going to a fast food place for salad. Are you insane?
You're
no,
crazy,
it's not. It's the chicken salad sandwich. It's
Yeah.
actually not too bad for a fast food.
It's
place.
good.
Josh, what you talking about? Wendy's version?
No, we're talking about Arby's.
You know what?
Wendy's
version is actually good too.
It's the same thing because it's the same restaurant.
Wait.
It's the same damn
You
company.
salad
All right,
fast
but
food
no,
joints.
oh,
You're
but Doc,
supposed to be
listen.
putting yourself in the grave
That's-
quicker.
The salad on that is good. The salad
It
in
is.
Wendy's, it's good. It's
All
good.
right, Perch. Would you not go to a Subway and get the seafood sensation salad?
No,
sandwich?
no.
It's so good.
Subway?
Subway's terrible.
Yeah.
Jersey Mike's, baby. Jersey Mike's.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Jersey
PTFO.
Mike's is way better. But in the Pacific Northwest, at least where I am, Subway is ass. I'm sorry. That's like the worst franchise up here. It
Someone
absolutely is.
took
Now, it's
insult.
better other places. I've been to Texas, got a meatball sub. It's good. But in this area, Subway's is garbage town.
The seafood
Someone
sensation is absolutely a
Red-looking
treat.
insoles from Boots and put that as a sub roll. That's what they call from Subway. It smells. It tastes bad. It's just terrible. They nuke the cheesesteak meat. It's like they put it in a little tray, put it in the microwave. Like,
Hey, Larry,
what's
that's
this?
the favorite right there. Larry, that's the favorite.
Exactly.
Jersey
Not only
Mike.
does Larry hate Chuck Dixon, but he doesn't like, he's
I
a
like old
sandwich
Chuck
snob.
Dixon. Hey, put words
You're
in
a
my
sandwich
mouth.
snob, sir.
Yes, I am, because if I'm gonna put myself in the grave quicker, I'm gonna do it with good food.
Jersey Mike's is very
Mike's.
good. They're a little overpriced, but Jersey Mike's has very solid.
Way overpriced.
Yeah, very
Dark Apple
overpriced,
March
for sure.
Hair, the Tom King debacle cost shops money. There's no comparison. But they did make the
100%.
comics returnable at least, but they're certainly out of anything that they bought opening up at midnight. Certainly they had to pay a lot of extra
No.
costs as far as
So they actually offered to refund even what shops did for like the quote unquote party. So in the end, DC did the right thing, but just what they were doing leading up to it was shady.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not, I agree with you, Josh. It's not comparison to the He-Man event. I mean, that's very, very different. DC was actively promoting something that was not happening. He-Man was like, no, it'll be fine. Trust me. Different ball game.
Different
DC was like,
It's Netflix. It's Kevin Smith, who hasn't made a good movie in about 20 years. Not since Dogma.
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Dogma's better and always will be.
Dogma wasn't bad, yeah.
Dogma. If it wasn't for Jay and Silent Bob in that film, that would have been almost a perfect film. But he had to put himself and his druggy friend in there. So yeah. But with Netflix,
This is
expect
Jason
nothing
Mewes
but bad.
now.
Yeah, Yeah, weed. Forget him.
Man, there's a lot of potheads that watch this channel, bro.
Hey, my problem is smoking the devil's weed. Reefer madness, my friend. Reefer madness.
Speaking of potheads, Andrew Burton says smokehouse brisket represent, and I don't know if Andrew actually tokes. I'll just say it. But that smokehouse brisket is absolutely good.
Mouth, man.
Yeah. Not gonna lie, I might have to go get one of those before going into work tonight.
With the curlies, seasoned curlies?
No, man, I'm doing the jalapeno poppers. Go big or
the
go
poppers
home.
are good too. The mozzarella sticks are also to die for. They've got the best sides. That's what it is, Josh.
I like the what this is Tim Lim, I think. Our friend Tim Lim is awesome, by the way. Congratulations. I don't talk or help Tim.
He's like over 130,000 on his. That's
He
crazy.
says I had Arby's last night, had diarrhea, worth it. I mean,
Totally.
fair
Totally
enough.
worth it.
I mean, if you're making that choice, that's on you.
Listen,
Good for you.
If you throw back a fifth of whiskey and you got a hangover the next day,
I
is it
don't.
worth it or
I'm
not?
pickled. I'm fine. My liver
Sometimes
is
you go
built to
through a
take
little
that.
bit of pain for pleasure. Kenneth Dowling, Wes, I have a fight I think you will love. Your boy Dick Grayson, Nightwing, former Boy Wonder versus Matt Murdock, Daredevil, the Man Without Fear. Death Battle Hada, and your boy won. You decide. Yeah, Dick Grayson would whoop his ass. Daredevil's blind.
Mm.
I don't know.
No.
Daredevil's blind, but he still fights ninjas. So
Yeah.
and they're silent. I don't think
I'm going with Matt.
Yeah.
The modern day version of Dick Grayson is kind of inspired by Matt, especially again Chuck Dixon's and Scott McDaniels.
He's not blind.
Beautiful. Huh?
He's not even blind. What do you mean he's inspired by Matt?
No, just how he is
Well,
as
the
a
design-
character.
The same weapon.
The way he
with
moves.
very similar
Yeah,
weapon.
he
Yeah, and
moves
that
like
costume.
Daredevil now.
Daredevil doesn't use the screamer sticks.
No, but
Nightwing,
Nightwing.
basically, that's
what
What's
happened.
He uses
Night-
batons. It's completely different.
No,
They're,
but
they're pretty similar.
It's similar.
It's-
Wait,
it's good.
It's different weapons. You gotta have
Wait,
different
all right,
sticks.
so wait, but
they all use.
you don't get Daredevil vibes when you look at a Nightwing book or when you read a Nightwing book. The modern day Nightwing version.
I get Nightwing vibes when I read a Daredevil book. Yes.
Oh, look at it this way. He took on
Who
Black.
was here? Who was around first, Dick Grayson or Matt Murdock?
Matt.
That
No,
was.
Oh,
no, he
way.
wasn't.
Dick
Dick
Grayson
Grayson
showed up in the
Dick
40s.
Grayson came
Robin.
first. But he
We're
was
saying
in
Dick Grayson.
Nightwing.
Sorry. We saying Nightwing. We talking Daredevil.
Yes.
Matt was Daredevil before Nightwing. Obviously,
Yes.
Dick Grayson showed up earlier.
yeah.
Dick Grayson was
I-
already trained.
tied up.
But Dick
beaten
Grayson,
up,
he didn't have those skills. He didn't have those
Yeah,
skills.
Dick Grayson's skills back in those days was fluffing Bruce.
Hey,
We've seen
man.
the comics. Prove me wrong.
Say goodbye to your channel, Wes.
Have you read Robin Year One? He was a badass from day one.
Yeah.
He was a carny, man. You know he was like
Oh,
he kept a knife in his
Jeez,
boot.
how many people do you hate, man? You don't like carnies now? You're gonna talk
No,
about gypsies
I
next?
don't. I don't. Give me a list. I'll tell you who I hate and who I don't. I'll be easier to tell me who I don't hate.
Come on, Wes. Matt could take out.
All right,
Dick.
it's some only one
You got
person
him.
has a Daredevil or a Nightwing figurine next to their head. What do you think about this, Josh? Who wins?
I'm gonna disappoint you. Look, I'll preface this by saying Nightwing is by far my favorite superhero. I think realistically, it's either gonna come to a draw or Daredevil is gonna win because I think Daredevil is willing to go a little bit further to make sure he wins.
He's a murderer, is what you're saying.
He's not. I mean, I wouldn't classify him technically as someone that's like fine with murdering people, but he has before. And I think if it's a fight to the death, I think he's going to be more willing to cross that line than Dick Grayson would be.
Well, I think Dick
Daredevil
Grayson has
wins.
to cross any line to win. He's Dick Grayson. He's Nightwing.
Nightwing could easily manipulate.
I don't know, Perch. Do
Murdoch
you get
the
Dick
hearing.
Grayson Nightwing vibes when you read Daredevil? Like me?
I don't know, but there's a lot of similarities between both. I think so for sure. But I love this. This one is actually a really tough one. I think a lot of the others you can very quickly get to an answer. This one, I mean, because you've got different eras. If you take Frank Miller Daredevil, that's a pretty badass Daredevil. You could take the Mark Waid pretending to be a lawyer and all that kind of stuff. Daredevil, that Daredevil's getting his ass kicked. But Frank Miller Daredevil, that's a tough one. I think Frank Miller Daredevil kicks Nightwing's ass. So I mean, there's a That's a
What
tough
about
one.
the Nightwing that destroyed the entire Batman family for the cow?
No, I
Proved
agree.
He took out Jason Todd.
I think that's been both characters have been written so differently at different times. It makes it very tough. I mean, if we're going purely on power set, probably Nightwing has, probably Daredevil has a slight advantage with some of the extra abilities he has. He could create a scenario where I think he'd do well in terms of pure athleticism. I think Dick Grayson probably has that advantage because he's got more
Are
training.
we considering him being blind like a special ability?
That's a
Seems
blind
like
part.
something he's
Obviously,
overrated.
the other instances,
Sonar,
he takes Nightwing into a dark room, and he's got a lot of advantages there. But anyway, it's interesting. This
Nightwing
is a good
was
fight.
born in the dark. What are you talking about?
He's not Bane. I was born in the darkness.
I don't even know
Oh my
what
goodness,
anybody's
Kenneth
born in
Dowling's
the dark.
bringing the whole channel down. We're going to murder each other here.
I love.
Thanks,
I like this. I think this is a really good
fun.
fight. But it just goes to show you get different writers who have different takes on characters, and you get kind of wild swings of how they would be. By the way, if you could get, and I did like Chuck Dixon on Nightwing and Robin, you're right. If you got that that Nightwing, and you went up against the Frank Miller Daredevil, that would be one hell of a fucking fight.
Controversial take. If you take Tim Drake pre-New 52, he's going to mop the floor with Daredevil.
Nah.
No, yeah, because he beat Lady Shiva, he beat Cassandra, and Ra's al Ghul viewed him as the best heir to be Batman. That's all I'm saying. And I think Lady Shiva would beat the shit out of Daredevil.
Well, don't let the facts get in front of it, get in the way of your feelings there, Jerome.
Josh, what happened?
We got
just
Dark
throwing-
Admiral
look,
March here chiming in.
I'm throwing facts. If you don't like it, you don't like it.
Wes, if you were to watch just what episode of Batman the Animated Series, watch Heart of Ice or the one with the Gray Ghost?
Yeah.
The problem is Daredevil's been written like a dummy for quite a lot of comics. That's the challenge you got there.
There's
a lot of his run. He sucks.
There's a simple way to figure this out. Give them both LSD. One of them sees dragons. The other one doesn't see anything.
That's true. Yeah.
There we go. We also got Lade Kramer. He said he meant the original Crisis Perch, how it affected sales, storytelling, and characters in the series. Legion has never quite recovered.
No, you're right. Yeah, the Crisis and it both. I mean, they've reset the universe back to where they could recover, but they put morons on the book to write it, so that's not going to help anything.
Kenneth Dowling says, Wes, you just ignored Daredevil's super senses, radar, and martial arts. It's the super senses. He's just adapted to being blind. The super senses.
He has sonar.
Yeah.
Like he has like
sonar
See a
ability.
bat? Get out of here.
and he's got like
He
super
just
hearing.
uses sounds
No
around
Batman
him.
anime series not knowing about the sonar powers.
Come on, Wes.
No, his
God.
sonar powers is he hears people moving and then he knows that they're there.
He visualizes it in his mind.
Yeah, he's got
Exactly.
sonar
Thank
abilities,
you.
yes.
He's visualizing it in his mind. I
Yeah,
hear
because
on,
that's
you
sonar.
can
We're
figure it out.
just gonna have a PD, like an iPad with it. Like, oh, that's where it is. No, it's gonna be in his head. It's like where the radioactive material splashed across his eyes. And
Yeah.
he's
I remember.
that's the whole
That's
thing.
where
It's
we
like
got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
we did. Yes, we did.
And
But
that's
yeah,
why
I
they're
think
the foot instead of the hand. I'm
But
not joking.
Kenneth Dowling's also
Splinter instead of a stick, and then get Splinter, Shredder, and all that.
Kenneth Dowling's also ignoring Nightwing has overcome superpowered entities' entire life.
Sure.
My goodness, you guys.
And everyone forgets how
Yahoos around here.
hot-blooded Matt Murdock is. He is one very hot-blooded guy, and he does not keep his cool. He freaks out like, "Where is Kingpin?" Freaking out like, "Okay, calm down, dude."
Yeah, Nightwing just pushes Elektra off of a building, and there you go.
Does
gonna jump
Elektra take Nightwing?
Yeah,
I would-
come on now. Come on. Yeah. I know she got that, right?
Listen,
I would say,
Nightwing
yeah.
can be seduced. You know what I mean?
She got
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I think
What happened with
holds him in close and
Tarantula? That's
stabs him right in the heart.
basically the same
Yeah.
thing.
She'll tie him up and bang him on the roof.
Tarantula 2.0.
Yeah.
Mr. DC Comics wants to know who wins tonight, Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder? if Tyson Fury hasn't been doing too much drugs or drinking, it's probably him. He's got that outstanding reach. Really, if he's come into a fight prepared, he's never lost. It's not even been close. So that's what I would say. But it all depends on Tyson Fury. Anybody else have an opinion on that one? Jeez, you guys watch a lot of sports ball, don't you?
No. What is it? It's just wrestling over here.
I'm with you. I think Tyson has it.
Absolutely. Well, if he's if he's been in shape. Max Santiago, Perch, how do you feel about the current Legion of Superheroes?
Sucks.
How do you feel?
Sucks. It's terrible. It's a disgrace.
A disgrace is probably the right word.
I mean, if you put a super chat in, I should be, I think the writing is terrible. I think they've sabotaged the characters. They've weakened the whole premise, and it sucks. And I think it's painful me as a long fan of the Legion, sitting here with the 5 years later, just giant hardcover omnibus, which weighs a freaking ton, to see this is the best effort that we can put out with one of the properties. I mean, if you're Warner Media, this is something you haven't tapped yet in movies, really, or anything. You're telling me you can't do a Game of Thrones like series based on the Legion? It's money for you. Why are you putting these hacks on this book? Come on.
Very good point. We've got a topic that says, as someone who's been splashed with more radioactive water than I care to think about, the only effect I can see is it makes me buy a lot of comics. There you go. It's not even super.
Yeah, because every once in a while we want our fucking superpowers and we don't seem to ever get them.
Right.
Have you been doing that your whole life, Doc?
Maybe.
Like, if I jump off the roof, am I going to fly?
Sitting on top of the microwave. Sitting on top of the microwave. Just like any day now. Any day.
I have tested telekinetic abilities more than once in my lifetime. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm going to keep my mouth shut about what I've done throughout my life.
Well, I'm just busting your chops, Kenneth. Wes, I know full well Nightwing has overcome superpowered foes, as in Blockbuster. You know who else has? Daredevil, Rhino, Hammerhead, Kingpin, almost super. Kingpin's just really big.
Hell, Typhoid Mary.
Yeah,
she's got abilities.
She's kind of crazy though.
Well, that's kind of the point.
Electro,
best that you can get.
The best grade you can get.
All right, so Doc, I've seen you in real life. You seem like a man who knows fast food. What's better, Arby's beef and cheddar or the KC Double Down?
You couldn't pay me to eat anything from Kentucky Fried Children. I just will not eat at that restaurant, so it's gonna be the beef and cheddar by default. Sorry.
Remember when KFC, like when it was Kentucky Fried Chicken, and your dad bringing like a bucket of like 8-piece bucket of chicken from KFC with the sides was a big deal?
Yeah,
now,
it was,
but
it was
just disgusting now.
It was, yeah, it went like, it got so mediocre and they went so cheap on the quality of food. And I feel like it's much more chemicals than food at this point.
But
then it is for pretty much all of them. So whatever.
You go to Arby's and you get that fresh roast beef that's been roasting all day. That's so good.
I'm just curious. We're going to one day. There is some place out there that we're all going to align on as being great. Like everybody will agree. I'm fascinated to get to that point. Like what's the one location?
I put my vote in for Olive Garden.
Denny's.
Olive Garden is good. Yeah.
Nobody can ever complain about Denny's.
Oh, I can complain about Denny's. Aren't they racist?
What?
Remember when Denny's had all those lawsuits against them for being racist and not serving persons of colors?
I don't
remember?
Nah.
No. You guys don't remember they had like 4 lawsuits because there you go. Google it. It's happened.
I'm with Jasper. I'm Whataburger all the way.
I am too, but
I know not for the burgers though. The burgers suck. It's just the chicken strips.
They got they got so many good burgers. The sweet and spicy bacon burger. I mean, even just the regular Whataburger is good. You've got the
I like Hardee's, man. The thick burgers, the mushroom and cheese one.
So Hardee's, and look, if you would have talked to me 10 years ago, I would have said Carl's Jr. / Hardee's, but they've gone downhill fast.
First,
Carl's
is that
Jr.
true?
has had some problems. Carl's Jr. has had some problems lately. It's true. I still like Carl's Jr., but it's had some issues in the last 2 years or so.
I remember the $6 burger was amazing, but I still always thought the Hardee's was better.
I mean, again, I put it in the chat. If you ask me for cheap food and a show, Waffle House. You can't go wrong.
You might get
Listen,
shot.
man, if I'm hammered, you show me in a Waffle House, I'm fine. I just get an omelet, some hash browns.
Yeah.
Waffle House, any time of day, middle of the night, it's going to have your back.
Yeah.
Agree. Look, Anthony Bourdain even
also
loved
may
Waffle
shoot-
House.
It
Yeah.
may
I
also
don't know,
shoot
man. I
you in
was
the
at a
back,
Waffle
but-
House during the day, and the lady, like one of the ladies working there, her water broke.
That's
And
the
they kept,
show.
like,
Yeah,
They kept
that's
like cooking the food, and I was like, I don't know, this lady's got there's birthing fluid all over your floor here. Can we take a minute to clean things up?
It's just
They were
water.
just, like,
Who
walking
cares?
around
It's
her.
the circle of life.
In-N-Out is absolutely solid and everything, but
Yeah.
there's not a lot of them. But
I don't
mean,
like their fries. They're terrible.
Yeah.
Panda
they're-
Express. There's no Panda Express in the Philippines. Get out of here. I eat Jollibee.
If it wasn't so local, Cookout, which is comes out of North Carolina,
It's a good
you
place.
can get barbecue plate. You can get $5 burger. It's about a pound of meat. It's multiple patties, cheese, cheddar, not that plastic American yellow American cheese, but chili cheese.
Now you hate
onions,
America.
Ketchup.
I-
Fantastic.
I've got to piggyback Wes here for a second. He mentioned Jollibees. And
Jollibees
if
is
you're
good.
ever like super, super drunk or super stoned, it's great because you want everything. And it's like burger, fried chicken, spaghetti. Boom.
You can get that in its own value meal.
Yeah.
You can. Oh, you know what? What I think will be the place for all of us? The Kentucky Hut, the KFC Taco Bell Pizza Hut. You can always find
I don't know,
something
man.
you'll eat there.
That's a disaster.
Or something you might eat here.
No, you don't combine these things. You don't cross the streams. This is
Hey, you know what? The Kentucky Hut let me take a pitcher of beer to go.
How about Five Guys? Can we agree on Five Guys? I like
Five Guys
that
is pretty
place.
solid. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
The
okay.
peanuts,
your
the bags
own-
of peanuts up here, they toss
I
the
love
shells
them.
on the floor like a pub. That's it's all right.
Oh, I see. They stopped serving peanuts down here because of COVID.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, there you go.
And
all
I'm
have
in
to be-
Texas, which is
We have to
weird.
be 100% masked up, and they got peanuts everywhere. I don't know. But we don't care about the
100%
allergies.
masked up, and you've got what everywhere?
Peanuts.
Peanuts. The peanuts.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you said something else. Like, wow.
Well,
Chuck Skill says Waffle House hash brown bowl. I've never even seen that on the menu.
Oh, fantastic! You got either the sausage and egg or the cheesesteak hash brown bowl. Fantastic, and especially if you don't want to have to deal with the bread, because sometimes the bread can get in the way of you're not eating a nice meal and you're watching boyfriend and girlfriend fight it out. And it's like, I told you, bitch. And then, and it's a fantastic stuff. I remember I got off work one morning. It was a day or two after the 2016 election. There's a couple fighting. I'm eating my cheesesteak melt, and I hear, I told you. See, it's women like you that got Trump elected.
it's
I'm
a
like,
show. It's a
wonderful show. And then he grabbed her by the hair, and then they called the cops. And I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, only in America and only at Waffle House.
Yeah.
You can't-
So we got Kenneth Dowling. He's gonna have the final word on this one. I know you're busted my balls. It's all good. I love these battles. Let's do some villain battles sometimes. We almost did when I was gonna do like Doom versus Lex Luthor, but I thought that would have been more fun. But he says Waffle House is king, so I guess Kenneth Dowling has spoken. And we got Comics Aficionados. Way too much time spent on food right now.
I was about to
I think
say, there's
we're
probably
spending as-
someone watching this for the first time that's like, isn't this a comic show? Like, why are we talking about fast food half the
We're
time?
spending more time on fucking food than the comics do right now. They spend a lot of time on food.
This is one of the
Yeah.
chief complaints. So we should probably get back on the comic books. We
Aficionados.
got
Yeah.
I'll
Sponsored
say
by
one thing
Stevie
about comics.
Sobolski. Here we are.
more
We are the
DC
next
printer
Sobolski.
delays. And the first time Perch, it was maybe like a dozen comics. They were only delayed by like a week or two. This time it looked like it was 2 or 3 dozen, and they're going out to like 3 and 4 weeks. This all has to do with the paper shortage, supposedly. Is that what you think what's going on?
No, the paper is impacting it, but I don't buy it's all the paper. I think the other thing that's going on is DC is I think they're a third or less of their editorial staff that they had a year ago, or I guess a little bit more than a year ago, and that's definitely causing a factor. I think that they're pushing the paper as the primary story, but they I know firsthand from some people who are there, they're not able to get books turned and pages going out, and there's definitely issues internally. That's also rolling into this. So it's not all the printer by any stretch of the imagination.
Maybe, and this is just a wild suggestion that nobody could ever think to do. Maybe not publish 100 damn comics when you got like 8 people in your office.
You're only doing 80 a month.
Oh, okay, 80, whatever.
Okay, speaking of this, and I'll try to do this as quickly as possible. This is one of the things that irritates me the most, and it happened multiple times this last week, is I saw it on Comics Beat, I saw it on Bleeding Cool. There's this comment that keeps getting rolled out by Heidi McDonald, by Rich Johnston, by others, and they keep saying the same thing, which is, well, DC has cut 25% of their line. That is factually wrong. There's no truth to that whatsoever. It's we all have different opinions, like what we've been talking about with Arby's and how terrible it is and everything else, or Wes's weird avoidance of Batman the Animated Series. Those are opinions. At the end of the day, we can fight about it, but DC publishing 25% less is 100% a lie. And so my question is, are they just stupid and they can't count, or is there some reason they keep putting this narrative out? Because it's wrong. DC is putting out more comics than Marvel in October. They are shoving books out. They are putting out more
in
books
December.
Just Perch, I'll answer that question. At no point is comics journalism actually like tied to reality at this point. They're just making shit up.
But it's just amazing. This is a very easily provable thing. And
there's a lot of very easily disprovable factual statements made by media, comics or otherwise, out there these days. They still do it.
But my God, this is math. This is not even hard math. This is greater than, less than, simple things. It just blows my mind that this keeps coming out, and they keep repeating it over and over, and they repeat it for several months. And I saw Josh's face when I first mentioned this. Yeah, it makes no sense.
It doesn't.
None.
This is one of those issues. I mean, at least with them repeating the statement, this is one of those issues, and it's not just in comics; it's everywhere right now. But you have companies telling people things, and then they just run with it. Like they don't do a follow up, they don't investigate it. They're just like, oh, okay, and then they regurgitate it. And I think that's what this is. But yeah, just common sense, which is lacking tremendously in this world, lets you know that this is not accurate. And, if there really are printer issues, which there are, there's printing and paper issues, there's supply chain issues, there's shipping issues, aside from comics getting destroyed. Like, if those things are really happening, that's where like DC as a company needs to say, all right, this issue, if it's going to affect like this number of thousands of pages, we're going to take this % of our line, drop it down to digital. That way it gets released. And I know that hurts comic shops, but then we'll commit to selling the trade. That way they can still push their stuff out. Stuff doesn't get delayed. They can keep a focus on their priority books that do make good money. And honestly, it might help comic shops to a degree because they're not trying to like showcase 50 million books.
It's just,
Comics
it blows my mind.
Comics Exposed chimes in. He says, Heidi McDonald is the queen of lies. Perch is right. Well, thank you very much for supporting the channel. And I do want to say this. Right now, we are sitting at 91 likes and 5 dislikes. Apparently, there are 5 people out there that agree with Perch that Arby's is bad. Hey, listen, I'll eat the dislikes on that one, and I'm still going to support Arby's.
Wes,
but,
I have to step in.
God damn it, Larry, do not interrupt me.
I'm the blame, man. I'm the blame for the dislikes.
That's fine. But if you want to support the channel, give us a thumbs up. Let everyone know. Let's see if we can get over 100 by the end of the video. I definitely appreciate everybody in there. Damn it, Larry. What do you think about all these delays?
Well, look at the time of year it is. We're going to have, even though everybody's like, we are moving into catalog season for all these, for whatever reason, for these stores that are still around, the ones that were able to stay open because they had more money for the PPE stuff and everything like that. So we are going into Christmas catalogs and everything like that, and those are taking priority. And not only that, like I said, less staff, which also means the inability to get stuff out in time. People that are like, they're just using this as a stepping stone to wherever else. This is just they're looking at it as a temporary job probably, or just worried about, like maybe they got too much on their plate, because who knows what's going on with DC right now. But I honestly think that it's not just the paper issue. That's an issue as well because it's been allocated elsewhere. A lot of these, companies like, okay, we got this stuff coming up, and it's like, oh, you got this comic? It's not a big priority for us, or we just don't have it right now. We don't have access to it because of fewer people working, more use. It's multiple factors, multiple.
Yeah, we've got King KDI supporting the channel. Thank you so much for the super chat. Paper shortage could be a good time to push digital comics and reduce the line that they publish. Absolutely, this is we know that that's something Jonathan Hickman wanted to do during the shutdown, was to kind of push the boundary as far as digital comics, but unfortunately that didn't come to fruition. Anybody have anything to say about that?
It'd be smart. I mean, it would be common sense. But I mean, again, if this is an industry where people can't count, then apparently this is just beyond them. I don't know what to say. I don't want to be that super negative guy. It's just what are you doing with your head?
Here's the thing, Perch. I appreciate what you're saying, but I still think you're giving them way, way, way more credit that they're actually making any attempt at all to live within the world of reality. They're just making shit up at this point. And honestly, I've looked around. The paper shortage, most of it's bullshit. The same way that the wood shortage before was all fucking bullshit. It was still sitting there. It was just sitting at big warehouses. There was a shipping shortage. That's it.
Yeah.
There was no wood shortage. There's no paper shortage either. There's a transportation shortage.
Yeah,
but they won't answer. But they won't. The actual media won't acknowledge that. So yeah, the printer's not getting paper. There's plenty of paper. It's just not at the printer.
The supply chain is the problem. Like you're saying here, that is fundamentally where these pieces are broken, and it is causing delays. But we're talking 2 to 3 week delays. When you see things that are going like 3 months and all the rest. I mean, I saw somebody at Marvel claim that the reason why there wasn't an announcement that Champions ended this week without any kind of notice to the retailers was because of the paper shortage. But that's nothing to do with paper. None of this.
They also said they planned on canceling it at issue 10 when they hired Danny Lore.
This is all ridiculous. I mean, everybody's got to blame the supply chain because that's an easy scapegoat right now. But it's in a lot of cases it's not anywhere as severe as being. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to leave in a minute because I have to go buy a bunch of toilet paper to closet. But otherwise, because I may go to Arby's later, so I'm going to need it.
Kenneth Dowling also had to leave. He says, a great Saturday morning as always with you guys. Wes, I won't judge you on Batman the Animated Series. Thank you very much. Apparently, a lot of those dislikes are because I haven't seen it. Thanks a lot, Josh. You can always catch up. Pizza Hut is my favorite pizza ever. I don't care how greasy people say it is. Delicious. Peace. Well, thank you very much. And Pizza Hut is still good.
Thank you, Kenneth.
All right, Perch, are you really leaving to get toilet paper?
No. I'm fine on toilet paper. I'm fine.
You never know. I mean, you're in the.
He's got plenty of copies of Champions. There you go. That's all you need.
He's got a lot of he can go out. He's in the Pacific Northwest. You got a fuck ton of trees. He can go out there and pull a leaf.
Absolutely. I've got one of the Japanese toilets. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Oh, but hey, nice. Yeah. Comics Exposed says, I'm not paying $3.99 plus for a digital comic.
Yeah, look, part of this thing with digital pricing versus this print is to try to help stores out, especially if it's going to be both. I think if you're going to have something that's just strictly digital, you can stand to lower the price.
And he comes back and says, push digital all they want. I won't be spending that kind of money on something that's not physical ever. Most I pay is 99 cents for a digital comic.
Yeah, Perch, didn't you have some type of, I think you had a video like this before, right? Like maybe they can probably, one of the great ideas I think you expressed in it was they probably would need to sort something out like that, because that eventually, whether we disagree on it or not, that's something in the near future that might be beneficial for the comic industry in somewhat ways,
Yes.
But you gotta it's the pricing. The pricing is the sticky point, and just the idea. People want that physical book. There's a lot of incentives in that, but also too on the back end, there are a lot of people, who wouldn't mind reading it digitally. Very often, a lot of books I might catch up on is digitally because of where I work at. So, I don't want to lug a whole bunch of books to work. I'll just have it and try to catch up before a show come up,
It's the pricing. I agree. I think the pricing is the big problem. And I do think a lot of people would like the convenience of digital. And I do think, somebody said in the chat, I am definitely terrified of these supply chain shortages affecting tequila. That's going to be a very dark day for me. But the thing that I always look at is I look at what Shueisha is doing with the Jump app. And here you've got something where for almost no money, I mean, you have unlimited access to comics. It's not even 99 cents a comic. It's like $2 for all the comics.
Yeah.
Wow. It's monthly, but good Lord, you spend what, $24 in a year and you get literally tens of thousands of comics. That's a big deal.
It's sort of like Apple or, a Spotify subscription service. Yeah, that's what they can probably do. And plus also, too, it will help out from a historical perspective, too. Like if you want to see an old book from the Legion of Superheroes in 59 or 58, it'd be great to access that to
Well, and here's an interesting thing that goes to your point about print is when you look at that app and you're reading a story, first of all, when a new chapter comes out, they're pushing it to you. You're getting a notification on your phone, not even opening up the app, going, there's something new for you to read. That's really smart. You're bringing people back in. Yeah. But also it's not ads, but after you've read an arc or something, they'll say, hey, would you like to order this? And click this button, will take you over to Amazon and then get you the book. And so they are tying the print in. And I know it's done a great business for them. People are reading it on their phone. They're like, wow, I really love this arc of One Piece. And at the very end, I push the button and a book comes to me. That's money. And that's why Viz is doing really well. And that is absolutely the way it should be.
Yeah.
All right, Perch, I got a question for you.
Yeah, man.
Are you a Patron guy or are you a Cuervo guy?
Patron's overpriced. I think it is a little bit better, but it's overpriced, I think, for the dollar. I drink a lot less tequila. I went whiskey and I've never gone back. It's whiskey's been a good fit for me. But
whiskey has vitamin A.
Jose Cuervo.
Yeah. I mean, tequila is one of those things where, God, people will disagree with this. I mean, most tequila I think is going to be pretty good. And then there are some bad tequilas. I mean, if you get really, really cheap tequila, it's going to give you a massive headache and you're going to feel like shit.
All tequila makes me Hulk out. It makes me angry.
Yeah. I'm right there with you.
Whiskey does that to me. Whiskey has vitamin A.
Yeah.
It has vitamin A for anger. I'm
Only
angry.
Jack Daniels makes me angry on the whiskey. Otherwise,
I can just walk around with a glass of whiskey all day long. It'd be great. But I tried some of that rock.
You want to be Hugh Hefner, huh?
Sure. Well, who doesn't want to be Hugh Hefner? But I don't know. I tried
He's
some
dead,
of
so I don't want to be him.
I mean, reading some of these comics, but anyway, I think rock.
Me too. Yeah.
I think the key with tequila is if you're spending like more than $50 for a bottle of tequila, you're overpaying. There's no point.
Yeah.
Whiskey, on the other hand, you get $100 bottle of whiskey, you're getting some really good whiskey.
There you go. All right. I just always thought you were a gin guy. My bad.
Gin? Oh, God.
Gin.
No.
Man, I had some gin and Tang last night. It was fantastic.
Tang, like orange juice Tang?
Oh, yeah.
This is reminding me of the conversation we had, how they're taped together at the end of the grocery aisle.
I got a picture of it. I need to post that on the community page.
Yes.
Please do.
All right, let's get into Amazing Spider-Man 75. It's the new dawn in the Spider-Man era. It's the Beyond era. We got the Beyond board. Essentially 5 creators. I believe it's Zeb Wells, Kelly Thompson, Saladin, Ahmed, Cody Ziggler, Patrick Gleason are heading up Spider-Man until we can get to the relaunch next year for the 60th anniversary. Taking over for Nick Spencer, who obviously left abruptly to go to Substack. They still mentioned what was happening in this Nick Spencer's line, but they clearly moved on from it. Now, Josh, you're not much of a Marvel reader, but I know you checked this out for the channel. What are your thoughts of Spider-Man 75?
I have to be the bad participant right now.
You didn't read it.
I did not. I apologize.
You're normally one of the only guests who make sure they read everything.
You know, I am. I have a stack of comics I was going to read.
It's okay.
I will say that I had plans to read it last night, and I got kidnapped last night. So, not joking. My birthday was on Tuesday, and we didn't celebrate, and my brother was not having that. Ooh. So he literally came by my house and got me. Thank you.
Yeah, happy
birthday. Yeah.
Looking like a nice, slim, slick 25.
Well, I don't know about that. But yeah, so I was bad. I didn't read it. I've heard some feedback. I think it's just one of those things where it's kind of predictable in what they're they brought forth, and not exactly what necessarily people want. But we'll see.
What do you think, Doc? You're kind of the a-hole of the panel here. If anyone's going to dump on this thing, it's going to be you.
I'm just a little disappointed so far. I really don't care about Ben Reilly.
Yeah,
I just don't. And okay, look, I think that if anybody has listened to me enough on this panel, they know that me with watching multiple Xerox copies of the exact same fucking character irritates the shit out of me. I hate legacy characters. It's the reason I never liked DC. So just doing a Spider-Man book with two Spider-Mans, I hated it when it was constant, guest stars of Miles and Jessica and Madam Web and Arana and all the other spider people. I want all these other spider people thrown into the sun. Please just do it and get it over with.
All right,
Sorry.
so you were a fan. Did you read it, Larry King?
I did not, because I really gave up on Spider-Man when Nick Spencer's run about issue 20 or so. And I just said, I'm a tap out. And then I was like, something felt like he isn't going to stick around too long. And then, well, he stuck around a little longer than I thought he would. But then the Substack thing. And then Ben Reilly, I enjoyed Ben Reilly in the 90s. I was that, like, oh man, he's wearing his hoodie with the cut off sleeves and with the crooked spider symbol. And oh, yeah, it looks cool. Yeah, at the time. For the time, I was fine. But bringing it back, and it's like, how many times has this guy died and we come back? I get, that's comic books, but it's like, I couldn't even be bothered. And also, I was looking at the cover. I'm like, what jobber did this cover? It's like Fat Spider-Man. And it's like, looks like me in a spider suit. And I looked at it, it's like Art Adams is like, oh, man. Like, it's like, maybe he just did it. It's like, whatever.
Wait, are we certain it was him and not Nick Bradshaw? Because they're literally indistinguishable.
Sadly, it was him. Yeah.
Sadly, it was him. Yeah, because like Nick, that's like, oh man, them jobber artists like, hey, I'm taking your style.
All right, guys, instead of crapping on the artists, let's actually talk about the comic book. Perch, did you read it?
I did read it. Yeah. I mean,
what did you think? I like the damn thing. I feel like I'm in the minority now.
No, I don't like this arc. I don't like Trademark Wars as a plot
kind of lame.
point.
I'll give you that.
I don't care about that plot point. I think the way they brought it in, I do think having Ben Reilly, we're spoiling the comic now. Is that we are doing that?
Fuck it. I guess we do it.
Okay, we're spoiling it. So I do think that having Ben Reilly come in and be kind of a double agent or basically kind of, I'm going to keep you informed of what's going on, Peter. The Beyond Corporation is here. I worry a little bit about the use of the Beyond Corporation. I think Kelly Thompson has a view of Next Wave and that entire group that maybe doesn't align. I'm just waiting for how many weeks do we have to go by before that stupid land shark character that she pushes on everyone shows up in the comic. It's going to happen any minute now. I'm not even joking, by the way. I guarantee within 10 issues that stupid shark's going to show up. But yeah, I don't love the backdrop. I do think what they did with Ben is okay. Using the UFOs, that's good. I mean, it was nice that we got those villains again. If somebody remembered that they existed, and so we brought them back. And
I love seeing that. Yeah.
I don't know how that exactly aligns to how they were used in Immortal Hulk a few months ago, but who cares at that point? But I didn't hate it. I don't like the group writer approach, and I only believe that's going to go wrong for them. And I think Peter Parker shenanigans in a hospital, I think it's going to get old real fast. But, as a first issue, I wish we would have seen whatever the conclusion Nick Spencer was heading toward. I wish we would have actually gotten that full payoff. I know he did shorten his run up a little bit. I know I wondered what other 3 or 4 things he was going to do. I wish we would have gotten to that.
I did like Patrick Gleason going more to his Superman style art and then kind of away from what he was doing with the Nick Spencer kind of horror effects that he was using with his art.
Yeah. I think I don't have any complaints about the art. I do agree with Larry. I think the Art Adams, but Art Adams, I love Art Adams clearly. He's impacting my style. His Spider-Man has never been the top of what he does. He's always better at some of these other characters, but I think
X-Men,
yeah,
X-Men for sure.
Fantastic covers, fantastic books,
and he's done some good Legion work actually. He's done commissions and things that have been pretty great. But anyway, I think I have no complaints about the art. The story feels like we're headed back to that Brand New Day kind of plots that I don't, the Beyond Corporation's evil, but we're trying to figure out from the inside. No, there's a mystery there, and Peter's got poisoning, and Aunt May's heading off to bang Doc Ock. I don't know. I can't get too excited about any of that.
Again? Wow.
She is. No, that she goes off to get his help in like 2 issues from now. So that's not even a joke.
You know what she means by help, right? You know what I'm saying, Jerome? Help. You know what I'm saying? You hear what I'm saying, right?
A little heave ho.
Yeah. Gonna help him with his wild dangling tentacles.
Yes.
Those 4 extra arms will help you scratch the itch that she has.
Scratch that Aunt May itch. Yeah.
Now, Jerome, I know you came onto the panel at the last minute. It was supposed to be Nerdy Girl Crates, and then she apparently had some power issues, somewhat different than what Josh had, but obviously she couldn't make it. Did you get to read ASM 75?
I did not. I was catching up on the X-Men stuff me and you were talking about. I finished the Onslaught Revelation. I finished the Hellions, and I just finished the trial of Magneto. I was trying to catch up with those. Hey, because you referred it to me.
I didn't say read Trial Magneto. I said read Hellions. There's a big difference.
Hey, I listened to you.
I review Trial of Magneto, so you don't have to read it. Okay? That's a public service.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
I have a question for you, man. How does it feel? How does it feel for the bus to run over you that West threw you under?
You guys have been stomping on my nuts all day about Batman the Animated Series. I can't
You're the one that didn't watch it, man. See, you're deflecting the blame of not watching a cultural landmark onto us. It's like, I mean, come on, Wes.
Come on,
you guys have been treating my nuts like a pinata sack as you've been hitting with the stick all the time, like a little bounce back.
Which, ironically, is what Aunt May's going to do to Doc Ock here.
Oh my goodness!
Hey, wasn't Doc Ock bound up in like them bandages for a while? So he's into some weird stuff, man.
No, but Wes, I didn't read. I guess I will catch up, Wes. I'll catch up with that. But
that's all good. I think it was a perfectly fine start, but I'm with Perch. I have no expectations of this thing going forward very well. They have one writer I like in Zeb Wells. They have a perfectly great artist in Patrick Gleason, who I think is also going to write. He's a good writer too.
Yeah.
But there's so many differing styles as far as the writers go that this thing is going to fall off the tracks. And we'll all be very happy for it to reboot to issue number 1 in time for the 60th anniversary, so we can have issue 100. Issue 900 and then issue number 1 back to back.
No, it'll be 900, then 100, then 1.
Okay, 900, 100, and then issue 1, and you'll be spending about $45 in 3 weeks on Spider-Man.
With the almost a pair of sneakers.
Delete.
All right, this is the final topic we got. Perch kind of alluded to earlier. We got a lot of Marvel cancellations. And 2 of them were just kind of stealth cancellations. They didn't even announce it or anything. They just said the end at the back of the comic book there, Doc, obviously with Champions at issue 10. They came back and they're like, yeah, we always plan to cancel at issue 10, even when we hired Danny Lord to take over. And then Guardians of the Galaxy at issue 18 with Al Ewing, who's promising all this, mind-blowing stuff with Guardians. What the hell are Marvel doing? Why are they stealth canceling stuff and not telling people?
They're lying. Because if they announced it ahead of time, they would have to explain it in the media when they just release the final issue and be like, oh yeah, by the way, it's canceled.
In Nonstop Spider-Man, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, they don't have to explain to all the people that we're reading and all the people that are going to get really pissed off on Twitter about why they canceled the book that they liked. Especially, I mean, this doesn't help. Like the Guardians of the Galaxy thing doesn't help Al Ewing's reputation for being a guy that can't put any asses in seats. I mean, he did it one time on Immortal Hulk after like 6 shots on other books, and then his next book after that couldn't do it again. So that was more
Venom, so that'll be his next crack.
I know, but that's, he has a reputation. He had a reputation up until Immortal Hulk of not being able to put asses in seats, and that seems more like a aberration than the new norm. Danny Lore, all they do is just get bad press for announcing that one. Sorry, I mean, look, we know the comic media, and all it would be was a bunch of bad press about canceling a book on blah 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 identity group. So there's no way they're going to announce that. I mean, the nonstop Spider-Man, honestly, they would have had to announce that it's canceled at like issue 3. Like, really, you're going to call the title on nonstop Spider-Man and then cancel it at issue 5 and announce the cancellation? There's no way that they were going to announce that one. But all of these, it's because they make them look bad. It would have made them look bad to announce them ahead of time, and they can't do that right now.
Cal Miles says blame it on Kelly Sue.
Oh, I will always blame Kelly Sue. I will also blame Kelly Thompson. Kellys in general in comic apparently are a problem. I don't know all of them, but yeah, those are your representatives right now, and well, they suck. All the Kellys out there, find better, Kelly representation.
I don't know, Perch. Is it time for them to start soliciting these things as miniseries if that's what they're going to be?
Well, I mean, they won't do that because there's still that belief that miniseries don't sell, and it's which has been proven not the case. I mean, if you put a subpar creative team and the story doesn't catch people, it's not going to sell.
Yes.
That's the problem.
That's the problem. Danny Lore doesn't sell.
Yeah, I mean, Secret
Alan
Wars
Ewing outside of Mortal Hulk doesn't sell.
I mean, it's hypocritical because on the other hand, their strategy is so based on events, which are limited series. They can call them whatever they want. They are also limited series. Secret Wars was a limited series. It sold just fine, as it turned out. A lot of these do, but I think it's just it kind of is what another thing we talked about earlier. They're not giving any of these writers any kind of longevity. So if you're hired for a 3-month book, it doesn't take. You just stealth cancel it, move on, and you just kind of continue to churn through this stuff. It's kind of a mix between a volume game of just a lot of comics coming out and this almost the illusion that you're keeping the lights on by just keeping books going. But the comic industry is profitable. It is at the Marvel and DC level. They are making money. They're not losing money, but they're not making a lot of money. And this strategy right here is increasingly propped up with variants and ratio orders and all these other kind of events. And it's all incredibly unhealthy. This all collapses right now. If people decide, you know what, I'm just going to buy 20% less variants. I'm not interested in that game. Or, you know what, this big event, it didn't catch me for whatever reason. I'm not interested in Jason Aaron's War of the Realms 2. I'm not going for it. It starts to topple everything really fast. And
because diminishing returns.
Yeah, it's not good. So I mean, I think they, rather than kind of be more honest about this as a mini series, how about you do the opposite and commit to some people, figure out who it's going to be, commit to your writers, give them a 2-year contract, at least minimum, set up a big run. Some of those people getting those 2-year contracts, I won't like, but it's still going to be better for the industry if you do that, and just start to push, forward thinking, long-term thinking. It's a crazy concept, but try it. That's what's going to get you the IP that your bosses are going to go then mine.
So is this canceled just for the reboots of January?
A lot of it, sure. I mean, they're just going to want to jump out with a bunch of number ones, a bunch of variants. You're going to have just so many number ones in January, February, and March. And that's what we're going to have. Everything's going to get recycled and redone. We're going to get musical chairs of the current creators onto other books. And, we'll see. Will comic fans, will customers go into the shop and be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm here for Champions number 1 for the 5th time. Let's go. Maybe.
I don't know, Doc. Do you think it's healthy that Guardians of the Galaxy is going to be, if it comes out in 2022, it will be on its 4th reboot since 2018?
No, that's not healthy. I mean, look, every time I get the whole, I've been saying this for a decade now. Every time you create a new jumping on point with a new number 1, you create a large jumping off point too.
For sure.
Yeah. And every single time after you get past the gimmicked sales of number 1s, the variant, the first 5 issues where they're dumping a shit ton of variants on it, and you get back to your baseline, your new normal is always lower than your old normal. And rather than letting it build itself back up and recognizing that problem, they just are doing it more and more frequently now. They're trying. They don't want to recognize that they were making a bad, long-term move. So they're doing the smart short-term move, bad long-term move on a more short-term basis and a more frequent basis. And it's been accelerating for a decade. I make the joke regularly that we're looking at a future with, volume 73 of number 1, just, comic book number 1. But every single issue is a new number 1. We're just on volume 73, which followed volume 72. They reversed the volume and the issue numbers. That's all they're doing.
All right. Well, that's Marvel Comics Cancellations. I think it's time to kind of wrap this up. We've gone almost 2.5 hours now. And time to talk about some comic book recommendations. All right, Larry. You recommend any comic books this week?
Yes, Jim and I Jump by me. No, other than that, I reread the Monsters book, Barry Windsor Smith, which was 35 years in the making. That, my God, it still kind of rips me up a bit. It's like very few comics feel very personal. Just the way it was illustrated, the way it was crafted. If you've never read it, if you've never read Monsters, it spawns from Hulk's origin story. Fantastic. It was supposed to be a Hulk origin, and then Bill Mantlo saw it, did the whole Brian Banner thing, but this is so much better than a Hulk story ever could be. It's sickening almost because of how depth it goes, the human elements, the character building, and just the horror of family abuse, war crimes, just terrible stuff. But it's so good. It's a work of
dark
art.
And powerful.
Very
Absolutely.
powerful comic.
First work by Barry Windsor Smith at some time. We've got Sadiqa Flowers saying, I just stopped by and saw Perch was on. Hey, Perch.
Hey, Sadiqa, good
Perch?
to see you. You sent a question to me in mail, too, and I'm doing a video on it, so I apologize I haven't answered you back. It's been a crazy amount of mail over the last week, as you could probably imagine, but good to see you.
Yeah, absolutely. Love seeing Sadiqa. And we got Retro Man. I missed the Hickman section, but I'll say this once again. Hickman for DC 1 million. Almost only untapped potential. It's his type of playground. Absolutely. We would love to see Hickman come over, work with the Legion of Superheroes and some other stuff with the DC Comics. And we definitely talked about it. I think you're going to enjoy that on the playback. Thank you very much for supporting the channel, Retro Man.
Nice.
All right, Perch. What do you recommend? You recommend any comic books this week?
Well, go support Jim and I Jump. It's cheap. It's easy to go into that. I don't want to just shill, but it's a good deal.
No, you should chill. It's a 48-page comic book. It's already completed. Is it printed?
It's printed. It's sitting here about 5 feet away from me. Boxes are here. I'll
and
post
it's funded.
the link. It's completely funded. You're getting it 100% for sure. So we're excited to have it in your hands. And this is the first of many comics that are coming from a wide variety of creators, and I know you're going to love it. So please jump in. We try to make it as cheap as possible. I'm hoping over time it gets cheaper. Again, the shock to me was half of the cost you're paying is shipping, which is just absurd. But we live in those times. In terms of some stuff that came out this week, I liked Arkham City. That was kind of a surprise a little bit for me that it was just a solid kind of sat on its own kind of read. That was a reasonable book. I'm still liking Firepower a lot. That is going on over there. That's a book nobody is promoting anymore, and it's just a fun little book. I recommend it highly.
It looks interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I went to go and read. Went back and reread Superman Red Sun, which I hadn't read in a little bit of time, and I find myself enjoying that book a lot. It's always been a good title, but that's a really good series, and definitely was going to hit at the end. This actually came out last week. Beckstar number 5 from our friend Joe, who's out there at New York City Comic Con enjoying Scott-tober and having a great time apparently.
Have fun out there.
Yeah, that's a good issue. Well done. That was a good series, and like Jim and I Jump, no eating, no drinking, no food, no crazy weird relationship stuff, just action.
Yep. Infamy or Death is recommending Beckstar 5, the final issue, ending brilliantly. Also recommending Sumerian, the Black and the Beyond the Black River, Red Sonja #2, and Invincible Red Sonja. So absolutely loving the Sword and Sandals comic books that are coming out from, I think it's Ablaze and Dynamite there. Fantastic stuff. And Infamy or Death says, I need to shave my beard. He says it's getting unwieldy.
You haven't seen mine.
No, I've seen your beard.
Hey,
What do you think? Is this unwieldy?
No,
Come on,
you're good.
Josh, be honest.
I'm gonna try and match it. You're seeing. I'm putting it in.
I've seen your beard. It's getting there.
It's getting
You
there.
almost got
yeah.
a big boy beard, Perch.
Yeah, almost.
Oh man, yeah. I see someone posted up something with Athena by Eric Kinnett. Oh my god.
Yes.
Absolutely.
This
Great
guy's
title.
incredible. Man, I gotta get that one.
Is that what you recommended, Jerome? You recommending Arcathena?
I would do that. Oh man, the stuff we have seen online. I seen a video that was posted on someone's channel on YouTube. I can't recall it. I just wandered on it and I had to like praise the guy for posting the video. He had an interview with Eric, and then I seen some of his stuff that just on Twitter. This guy is incredible. His stuff is out
Wonderful
there.
talent.
We need to support. Yeah, we need to support this guy's stuff. That book is incredible. The way how he drew it and designed it. I'm excited to see that one. I'm waiting for that to come out. It's not out quite yet, right, guys?
No, the
Not out
campaign
yet.
itself is just ending.
Yeah,
Campaign's about to end. Yeah.
Yeah.
So jump on it if you haven't yet.
And it's not going. It's not
so.
going to be going in demand. So you.
Yeah. Oh,
Whatever you got to get it. You got to get it before it ends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm gonna probably do so when we get off the show. Then I'm gonna look that guy up and jump on that because that book
Good
is
on that,
incredible.
And I'll just say too, like he's incredible, but he's also an incredible person, which only
He
makes you want to
seems so.
support them more. Like,
Yeah,
Eric's a great guy.
Yeah.
you can tell he has a certain level of transparency about him that you can easily connect with. I agree
Yeah.
with you, Josh.
He has kind eyes.
You know what?
Okay.
I've talked to Eric in the kind of the green room before this show starts a couple of times
Yeah.
when he's been on, and the guy is one of the most friendly people I have
Yeah.
ever met.
You can feel that when he's talking in his interview. That's what I got from him. It's like, oh, this guy is so great. Like
He's
Yeah,
so
the guy-
soft spoken.
He even went
All right,
along
fellas.
and got me to. He went along with me and said he described Mayor Goodboy, that comic from a couple weeks ago, and I'll always appreciate that.
Mhm.
Mayor Good Boy looked really good.
Yeah, it did.
Oh man. Do you have any other recommendations, Jerome?
I'm following everything you're rocking with.
All right.
You know, whatever
All right.
you say. You and Perch, I'm always on the show trying to catch up and see what's out there, just in case if I'm slipping. You're keeping me on my toes.
All right. Sounds
Yep.
like you're a smart man. We got Max Santiago saying Arcathena, Echo Land, Moon Knight, Robin, Ultra Mega. Those are all fantastic, man. Moon Knight has been
Yeah,
just a breath of fresh air. I couldn't have expected that series to be that good.
yeah. I read one
Oh,
of those
man.
issues. Pretty good. Yep. Mm-hmm.
What are you recommending, Josh?
So for this week, like I said, I'm a little behind. I will say I'm with Perch. Arkham City was definitely a solid start. I'm curious to see what all they do with it. I do have some reservations, but if they continue doing things like they did with the 10-Eyed Man, I
That's
loved that.
nuts.
It was creepy. It was weird. It was excellent. And I'm also going to go ahead and go that Batman the Animated Series route with Batman the
Yes.
Future Continues, because
That was
we've got
great.
Paul Dini writing the book, and it's like a nice. It feels like you're back with the animated series. Not that Wes would know about that, but I'll second Echoland. It's a beautiful book, story wise. It's solid. And then there's a couple of debuts that came out this week that I'm going to try to read this weekend, and I'll tweet some opinions about them.
Very nice. All right, Doc, what do you recommend?
You know what? The only book that I can truly recommend this week, other than Arcathena, and whatever the book that Perch and Larry keep talking about. I'm
Oh,
sorry,
God.
I blank out whenever you guys start talking about it.
That's totally okay. Jim and I jump. All
Somebody
good.
hear like a tumbleweed just blow by with a
Yes.
weird accent, Like,
But the only other book that I'm really recommending this week is Hellions number 16.
Damn good.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a great
I gotta catch up.
comic.
All right. That's the last issue, right?
No, there's still 2 more.
No, 2 more. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it.
But it's the most recent, yes.
Yeah, I think I'm behind. I think I just saw after the revelation with Salak. I just saw that one.
Well, it is yes, infamy or death. It's X-Men. It's Hellions. But no, that was it for me really this week. There wasn't anything else that I could think of that even I bought a bunch of stuff. Nothing that I'm super into recommending though.
This was a bit of a light week as far as big name comics. So I'm going to recommend the Arby's beef and cheddar with a side of curlies. I think that's probably just really good for you. I'm also going to recommend everyone just avoid James Tynan's Batman. It just sucks.
Oh God, yeah.
It's fucking awful. Perch, is it bad? Tell me I'm crazy.
I wouldn't say it's not bad. It's dull to me. I've read bad comics. This one, it feels like the momentum is gone. I don't know if it's because he's leaving. It just all the beats we've all seen before, and we've seen it better before. It's just that's the thing. It feels bland. It's
well, especially with this story, like we've literally had 4 issues of him just repeating the same thing.
Yeah,
and the only thing different about this issue was, hey, we actually got a fight. I mean, I got excited over a fight that I honestly didn't care about, but
yeah, it is.
It's
going out on a
limb. Catch up. Yeah. I gotta catch up. I think I'm
don't catch up, man.
You don't have to catch up. Yeah,
no, I think that's the point they're making. It is not catching up.
Hey,
I'm waiting for Tristan to jump in the comments and tell us we're crazy because she's liking it. But
she thinks that was like a 5-star comic. I mean, I'll give it 5-star art.
Yeah. Jorge Jimenez art, great. It's Tomiyamori colors, excellent. But
she also thinks Stephanie Phillips is a competent writer. So I mean,
you only put lipstick on a pig so many times before people start seeing what they got. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'd say avoid it. It just sucks. Have fun at Substack, sir.
to everyone up in New York, Scott Tober can lick my balls, and so can Scott Snyder.
Besides that, if you see Joe Corallo, talk to him, say hi, give him a high five on his back star. Go to the Comics Elite table. I think they got 10 exclusive variant covers there, and you'll also likely see John Leone, who was just on the channel this week, was talking about the issues that he had with Penguin Random House. He's going to be out in the audience as well. So if you see those people, say what's going on. I expected Larry from Larry's Comics to be there, but he's doing gardening right now. There you go. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Had a lot of fun, and we'll see you next week right here on the Comics Aficionados.
And wash your ass.
Thank you, everybody.